Everyone, welcome back to the Decade series with the Cinebums featuring the Misfit Pond, as always. And we have a special guest, returning guest actually. He was on our comfort movie episode, and he's got a comforting ASMR voice, Mr. Bill Griff. Thanks for coming back so soon.
Well, thank you for charming me minute one, Jake. I'm glad to be back here with my ASMR voice.
That's what I do. And of course, Carlos and Blaire, thank you guys for tuning in here at like damn near 2 a.m. your guys' time.
You guys for having me.
You guys are troopers.
Yeah, no problem.
It's what we do.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
I'm so glad. Yeah, we're gonna say fuck it and just dive right into the list because our 70s list took about 3 hours, so we don't want to run into like another one of those. Even though it was fun, I don't want to keep them here till 5 a.m. So we're just gonna get right into the goods. Yeah, the 80s were a great decade. To sum it up, I mean, it was kind of like the post New Hollywood movement. So you have directors like thriving, but you also have like, I don't know, like I guess horror films started to become very more mainstream, like slashers post Halloween. I mean, like how do you guys sum up the 80s usually? I mean, it's like, for me, it's like nostalgia and like cult hits and a lot of good, as always, foreign films that we've discovered through Criterion and whatnot. So pretty stacked decade. Yeah.
Cult hits are definitely like what I think of when I first think of the 80s.
Yes.
Very stylistic and cult hits.
For sure.
Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to mind for me personally. It's funny because I don't actually know. I was gonna say I don't really have any cult hits on my list, but there's a few in here that might actually fit that category. So let me not say that. But yeah, definitely. Like when I think of the 80s, I think of something that feels very like raw, not controlled. I definitely think of like horror cult stuff mainly, but.
Totally. Yeah. And yeah, cult movies. There was one I like almost made my list. I guess honorable mention real quick to Repo Man, which I know is not a Carlos favorite, but it was a movie that really grabbed me as like a young teenager. And I feel like really fits that mold of just kind of like zany, bad shit, crazy 80s Coke energy. It just does whatever the hell it wants. And it's so punk rock. So it didn't make my list because I couldn't like put it above like actual, cinema, but I do love Repo Man, and like there's John Carpenter films and other stuff of that nature. So yeah, it was a really interesting decade for sure. I've heard like Tarantino and other modern filmmakers that grew up in that time and talk about how like disappointed they were with this decade. Which I never really understood. I don't know if you guys have heard those complaints from like modern auteurs about the 80s.
Yeah, I remember Tarantino saying some shit like that. He was saying that like the 80s was a decade that was like not pushing out anything that was like boundary pushing and it was really safe. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, again, I don't know. I'm not like the biggest like film historian exactly, so I could be wrong, but I don't know. I remember there was a lot of crazy ass shit that came out in the 80s. I mean, maybe he's just talking about like the mainstream, which I guess would make sense. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know how popular stuff like The Fly was, but I'm pretty sure that's an 80s movie, right?
Yeah, it is.
And that's a pretty like bizarre movie that I think was pretty popular back then. So I mean, I don't know.
I think the 80s was kind of like at least in my opinion, I don't know, is like kind of the prime of like blockbusters because you got so much. You got like Indiana Jones and Batman, Back to the Future. Like I don't know, like Predator and Lethal Weapon. It's just a lot of like cultural, like a lot of the stuff you find nostalgia baity like in Hollywood today comes from the 80s. I'm sure that's no surprise to anybody, but yeah, for
sure. And I was gonna bring up like 80s nostalgia has become like a subgenre in modern film and like TV itself, which is pulling from like the Spielbergs and the Joe Dante, Cronenberg. Like everyone's trying to replicate like these 80s kind of cult hits, Stand By Me, all that stuff. And like Back to the Future almost made my list too. It's like a childhood favorite of mine. It's kind of like what Carlos was saying about Jurassic Park during the comfort movies. It was like that was another one that could have made my list. But yeah, I totally agree. It's like those really iconic sort of childhood defining movies for sure. come from the 80s. So
Yeah, and that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I was gonna say there is like pretty boundary pushing films like Brazil though, and that's just kind of the main one that comes to my mind. But also like Santa Sangre, just a lot of avant-garde kind of things. This isn't making my list, but there's a movie called On the Silver Globe that's like top 5 craziest fucking movies I've ever seen. So yeah.
Yep.
That's the director of Possession, right? That director. Yeah.
I'd highly recommend that movie. It's fucking insane.
Yeah, Terry Gilliam, David Lynch, so many amazing auteurs flowered in the 80s too. So it gives us a lot of everything, really. So I can't wait to delve into the top 5. Do you guys have any final words before we go?
I was just gonna say that synthwave sound also came from the 80s, really.
Yeah.
That synthwave sound that like a lot of filmmakers nowadays try to incorporate into their films in a kind of modern retro kind of way.
Mm-hmm. I just rewatched The Guest a few weeks ago, and that is like chock full of that synthy, neon drenched 80s nostalgia. And that movie rocks, in my opinion. I would have talked about that too if we talked about movies, but yeah.
I love The Guest.
I love that film too.
So much fun.
Someone save Adam Wingard. He lost his mind.
In my opinion, that's like the only movie I like from him. I don't think it's amazing, but it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that, and You're Next. Mainly because I saw those when they came out, and I have like a deep nostalgia for both of them. But I can see why you're just like, yeah, these are kind of just hollow genre movies from the.
Wait, are you guys talking about the guy who directed Kong versus Godzilla?
Yeah.
That's the guy.
Yes, sir. Not advocating for that or the Blair Witch remake, but before that,
I actually like Godzilla versus Kong. Like, I'm not in love with it, but I think
it's good. Yeah,
it was like just a fun kind of like dumb action movie that I enjoyed. Such a big leap for him too. Like Adam Wingard going from making like 3 more or less indie type films to a complete like super high budget blockbuster. It's kind of wild.
And Death Note between that too.
Oh my God. That is one of the worst movies I saw of the last decade. I despise that movie.
I do too.
Sorry.
I despise it. I do too. I think Adam Wingard was supposed to do like an I Saw the Devil remake, which kind of heresy, if you ask me, to remake that movie.
No, it does not need to be remade, but whatever.
For an American audience who don't fucking read subtitles, I guess.
Yeah, God. That's a whole nother podcast. But anyway, 80s top 5. Bill Griff, you're the guest, so we're gonna, if you could lead us off, I would appreciate that. You're number 5.
I'm honored. All right. God, I'm handling this a lot like top 5 comfort films because it's hard to rank so many films from the 80s. And I had to make some sacrifices. All of us did in trying to make a unique top 5 where there's no repeats, unless that'll change through some heated debate. But my number 5, it's got to be from one of my favorite genres, a genre that I think was revolutionized, experimentalized, just completely reworked from the ground up. It's horror. Now, one of the most significant genres I think that was explored in the 80s was horror. In my opinion, that's the decade where the genre just really popped off. There were so many different subgenres of it, that thanks to the 70s, of course.
Yeah.
From the body horror of Cronenberg's Videodrome and Fly to the multifaceted approach to that slasher archetype of Freddy and Jason. That we had insane over the top acting in shit like the Evil Dead series and several iconic films I won't mention here in case they might show up later in someone else's list. As much as I wanted to pick every 80s horror, I just need to pick one. And I feel confident in this one because my number 5 pick happens to utilize body horror, batshit crazy performances, just all the qualities I love to the best of its ability. And that is Andrei Zulawski's Possession from 1981. If no one's heard of this film, the story is about a government agent played by Sam Neill. Yeah, the Jurassic Park guy, the wholesome guy. He comes home from work after a long mission to see that his wife has been having an affair with him. The two separate, not in the most simplest of ways. In fact, it gets pretty heated. A lot of intense arguments ensue. He becomes jealous, confused, furious, and finally curious. Once he finds out who his wife has been sleeping with, that's when everything in Possession clicks for me. When I first saw this film, it was in the aftermath of a breakup I was going through.
Wow.
I remember finishing it and just feeling so changed. I went in completely blind, and it's safe to say it's something that's resonated with me deeply. It's actually kind of cathartic to watch it. It's now become my usual Valentine's Day movie to watch. And I don't know, maybe it's the fact that this film tackles the story of a divorce in the most nightmarish, otherworldly, and possessive methods I've ever seen. Like, it definitely makes me not want to be married anytime soon or have kids. I could say how brilliant its themes are of a union being separated with, the film taking place during Cold War Berlin. The feeling of not being content with your lover only to leave them for someone else you wish to be molded into the perfect version of them. That's a theme that's tackled and executed so well in this film. Not to mention the insane sound design and off-the-cuff cinematography. But to me, the most outstanding aspect of this film is Isabella Gianni's performance as the wife, Anna. She's one of the best performances I've ever seen in an actor, period. She goes through all of the different emotions and complexities and is so, it's like, it borderlines on cheesy and over the top, like Nicolas Cage levels, like Mandy levels, but she does it so well and so expertly. There's so many scenes I would love to talk about. I mean, we might as well get into spoilers because everyone else has seen this film, but I really love Possession. It is it's definitely, like what Blair said, a culty film, but it's also a revolutionary horror film. I feel like many contemporary classics like Hereditary is what comes to my mind first, and maybe The Babadook. Just with these excellent female performances, I feel like they've all borrowed something from Isabella Gianni and Possession. So yeah, that's my number 5, Possession. Gotta love it. Great marriage story film.
Masterpiece.
I agree. Absolute masterpiece. Must see masterpiece.
Mm-hmm. Carlos, have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it twice. I rewatched it, I think, last month for a movie night in the Discord, and I definitely like the movie. I'm not nearly as in love with it as most people are, but there's a lot about the movie, like artistically, that I do really respect and admire. Honestly, the first 30 minutes of the movie, I am in love with. I think it's like 10 out of 10. I guess it's just like stylistically the way it goes about like structure and some of like the film editing and some of the score choices, and like I don't know, it's kind of rocky for me. Like as it goes along, it gets a little rocky, but that's kind of by nature because it's so fucking like wildly ambitious with its creativity that like it's not going to be a film that everybody's going to jive with throughout the entire experience. But yeah, I still really like it. Again, I'm not like as in love with it, but even if I'm not in love with it, I do respect how thought-provoking it is and how interpretive it is and how just fucking fucked up it is overall. I think it's in that department, it's really awesome.
Totally. I can see where you're coming from. It's a very abstract and just, I haven't seen it in years, to be quite honest, but I always remember the scene in the, I don't know if it's a subway tunnel or whatever.
The most iconic scene.
Yeah, I know it's kind of turned into a meme in Discord a little bit, but like that is some of the best acting on film I could think of. And yeah, like you said, Bill, about how it's a kind of a oddly, I can see that being somewhat of a therapeutic like breakup movie, because it is such a heightened like allegorical take on like relationships and everything, and it's so it's a breathtaking movie, like visually too. Like you said, like there's shots I still remember that still stick in my head.
Lots of quotes too that just kind of chilled my bones when I first saw it. And Zulawski actually wrote this film in the midst of a divorce he was going through. So this is really a therapeutic film for himself when you think about it. He was able to just let out all of his frustrations about divorce into this one movie and just make it like some sort of psychosexual incubus crazy ass movie. It's perfect in my opinion. It really is. And I get it, Carlos. I understand you not jiving with the direction it takes, but I love it. I was all for the ride.
Quick shout out to The Brood by David Cronenberg, because he made that movie after a really horrible divorce too, and that he always said like that's how he sort of reconciled and kind of let out his frustration with marriage with that film. So I always think it's a cool trope with filmmakers. Noah Baumbach made a whole career out of that. So
yeah.
The Brood has such a fucking amazing finale to it.
Oh man, yeah. The final like 20 minutes of that movie is so
for that reason alone, I bought it on Criterion. That was one of my first Criterions, and I bought it mainly because of how much that ending like impacted me. It's just really great.
Hell yeah. Check out our top 5 Cronenberg list on the Cinebums. We went deep to one of my favorite directors of all time. Anyhow, great pick, Bill. I guess I'll do my number 5 real quick, which I kind of shifted at the last minute, kind of panicking because like this is one of my favorite movies. I didn't want to be too on the nose, but I just have to bring it up because we all love it, we all know it. But Paris, Texas.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
As Perry always said, the best thing shot in Texas since JFK. And he's right. Bill, you wrote one of the most touching reviews on Letterboxd about this movie, so I could like, if you want to chime in after me. I feel like you have a deep connection to this film, but man, what's there to say? I mean, Wim Wenders is one of my personal favorite filmmakers, and many consider this his magnum opus. I think such a gentle meditation on kind of what you're saying about possession in a weird way, is this drift-in relationship and kind of begging the question, like, do we belong together in that final sequence? Just breathtaking stuff. And this movie, just like for me, is just not to go back to comforting, but this movie is like the ultimate just Zen experience watching it, and like so thought-provoking and so visually rich, really zany and funny. Like his relationship with his kid is very, very so sweet, but also kind of like the fact that they're like on the same playing field, like emotionally, it feels like kind of like a buddy movie at times, which I love. I think it's Wim Wenders. I haven't seen the film he did. I'm blanking on the name. The sci-fi film he did that's about 4 or 5 hours, which some people consider his magnum opus, but Paris, Texas is hard to beat. And I think it's so long lasting and like has inspired so many filmmakers over the years to make really personal, universal films, just really thriving on simplicity. And I think that's Wim. I keep pronouncing his name wrong. Wim Wenders.
Wim Wenders.
Wim Wendy's.
I'm trying to be the German, the German pronunciation, I guess.
I'm just being stupid.
Wim out on a Wim Wenders.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful filmmaker, and Harry Dean Stanton in this movie, he's one of my favorite. Talk about like an actor that thrived in the 80s. Like Harry Dean Stanton was in Repo Man, as mentioned. This is the performance of a lifetime, and if you ask me, and just so much said with so little dialogue with his character. And again, the scene with him and Nastasia Kinski at the end is just, it's a movie that makes me redefine, like, you know, life and how we live, so many things. I'm rambling, but if anyone wants to add, that's my number 5, Paris, Texas. Shout out to Perry, JFK.
Yeah. Shout out. I'm glad someone included this on their list. If anyone knows me, they know that Paris, Texas is my favorite film of all time for very personal reasons. I was trying to challenge myself by not having it on my list because I feel like that'd be so obvious. And I'm glad someone did include it because it really is just, even without my connection to it, just looking at it from a filmmaking perspective, it's such a well done movie. It's so well executed. Yeah, I'm glad you included it on your list, Jake.
Me too. I feel like if it wasn't on all over the 80s list, we would have done something wrong. That's kind of why I just threw it on at the last second. Yeah, that's all I really have to say. I love the movie, like most people do.
I haven't seen it in I don't think I've seen it in 2 or 3 years. So it's not like the freshest in my head, but I do remember really, really liking that film a lot. Especially I don't remember the entire thing, but I remember 4 or 5 really different key impactful moments that to me are just brilliant filmmaking.
Yeah.
Especially that ending conclusion, the phone call scene is just
that whole, yeah.
So fucking great.
Totally. And other Wim Wenders movies people should check out. Alice in the Cities is another great road trip film that I love. Obviously, Wings of Desire. The American Friend is incredible. It's an amazing Dennis Hopper performance. I feel like he's oddly an underrated filmmaker because people talk about Paris, Texas a lot. But if you go through his body of work, he's just a master of his kind. And all his movies have a consistent tonality that I really keeps me coming back to him. So I'm a huge major fan of his. So yeah, that's my number 5. Who wants to go next?
I guess I'll go next. Fuck it. So my number 5, I'm actually wearing a shirt for it right now. It's can y'all see it? Santa Sangre.
Santa Sangre.
Nice.
Yeah, this film I am deeply, deeply in love with. It's my personal favorite Alejandro Jodorowsky film. I acknowledge that The Holy Mountain is more of an artistic achievement, but Santa Sangre to me is the absolute perfect blend of cohesive narrative filmmaking and also just interpretive, bizarre abstraction. And it's just filled with all kinds of both beautiful and disturbing imagery, bizarre imagery, and again, a narrative that is a lot more conventional compared to, most of Jodorowsky's stuff, at least the stuff that I've seen, because El Topo and The Holy Mountain are very, the narrative there is so incredibly loose, but with Santa Sangre, you have a lot more characters that you follow and see grow. There's a lot more of a psychological element to it that you can attach yourself to. And overall, yeah, to me, this film is just the epitome of just brilliant, creative artistry when it comes to interpretive filmmaking. Because it's not a film that you necessarily have to understand everything to in order to actually enjoy it. You can just enjoy it for what it is, because of the fact that there is a narrative there that you can follow, even though you might not understand some of the bizarre shit that it throws at you. It's still wildly entertaining and so interesting from start to finish. And yeah, this film is incredibly low budget too. It was made for under $1 million. I think it was made for $800,000 or something like that. And when you watch it, it's just mind blowing, especially with the elaborate amount of set design that's in it, especially when it comes to the Holy Blood Church and then the circus stuff and just everything that went into it. You're just damn, it's kind of unbelievable how this film was made for under $1 million with how much shit went into it. But Jodorowsky's family is in this movie, and they're all great. They're all really, really great in the film. I think they portray their characters really well. And Yeah, I mean, I have a whole review for this movie on my channel. So if you want to hear my more extensive thoughts on it, please check that out. But yeah, I'm in love with this film. He fucking Alejandro Jodorowsky is a madman, and Cinta Sagre is another great example of why that is. But yeah. Oh, by the way, here's the Blu-ray.
Oh, awesome cover.
Nice.
Severin.
Severin, yep.
Shout out to Severin. Man, every time we do these decade lists, Carlos, you make me just want to do a deep dive on Jodorowsky's work. So sadly, I've only seen one film, but I'm dying to see that now too, along with Holy Mountain.
Santa Sangre. My bad.
No, go ahead.
Santa Sangre was the film I chose for us to talk about on the Misfit Pond Discord via the wheel wreck, and I'm really happy we did that because to me it's like unlike any movie out there. It feels so different, even though it's not necessarily as bad shit as Holy Mountain. There is a narrative there, but the way he expresses that kind of story of like mommy issues, essentially, like it's just so excellently done. Very Jodorowsky style.
Yeah, it's this is more like, I don't want to say it's more akin to something like Bill Griff's pick, like Possession, but it is like, in terms of 80s films, it's similar in the sense that it's batshit and there's a narrative there, and it's just filled with like a lot of disturbing and like fucked up shit. But at the same time, Vicente Sangre, to me, it actually surprisingly has a lot of like beautiful moments in it that is kind of hard to describe. But yeah, it's a wonderful film. It's bizarre, it's out there, and boundary pushing, of course, but very thought-provoking and actually beautiful at times.
Nice. Is that your favorite Jodorowsky, or is it the Holy Mountain?
Yeah, it's my personal favorite.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I love the Holy Mountain to death. I have a giant poster of it in my room. I mean, in my studio. So,
oh, nice.
But Santa Sangre just resonates more on a personal level, and I think Blaire was the one that actually like really pushed Jodorowsky in general on me. So kudos.
Oh,
to him.
sweet.
Back in like 2019, I saw it and I was like, what the fuck? This is such a weird, unique movie. My only film friend at the time was Carlos, so of course I just told Carlos in person to watch it,
and thus began Carlos Core.
Yeah. I'm glad he took to it.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Blaire, what's your number 5? What's a Blaire Core movie?
So this one was the modification that I did. Well, I guess I won't say what I didn't go with, just to keep the surprise, but I went with one of my favorite Martin Scorsese films, The King of Comedy.
Oh, no.
Hell yeah.
So it's been a good long while since I've seen this, but when I watched it really left an impact on me, because like I didn't know what to expect before watching it, but I love character studies a lot, and I love Robert De Niro a lot. So him playing this kind of like very layered, complicated kind of character was really fascinating. I think this is definitely one of Martin Scorsese's like more underrated works. I mean, totally. I know there's like After Hours and like stuff like that, but I think this like deserves to be in like kind of like talks of being like top 10 Scorsese, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Man, this film is both hilarious and very dark. Like the title card of this fucking movie is just so off-putting. It beautifully sets the tone for what the movie is going to be. Like I won't spoil it, but it just like it makes you very uncomfortable. At least it made me very uncomfortable. But yeah, for those who don't know, it's just about Robert De Niro playing Rupert Pumpkin, and he plays like kind of this crazy fucking fan of this one talk show, and how he just kind of wants his like 5 minutes of fame, and he's like desperate to have it no matter what. I mean, Rupert cannot take fucking he won't take no for an answer. He just like by all means he's gonna have this if it fucking kills him. And just how unaware he is. Like he is fucking off his like rocker. And it's really fascinating. I think it's a brilliant performance and like a brilliant screenplay. Yeah, it's definitely in my top 5 Scorsese's. Yep, the king of comedy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
an awesome pick. Yeah,
I love the King of Comedy. It's such a fantastic movie. And yeah, I agree. The opening like title card credit sequence is freaking chef's kiss. It's so good.
It's amazing.
Remind me of, I haven't seen it in maybe 5 years. What's the opening credits again?
I'll just say without spoiling it, it's basically like a freeze frame of an image, and then the title rolls. But I mean the credits roll. But yeah, that image itself is just, like, to me, so profound, and it like Blair said, it encapsulates a lot of what the film is about.
There's like no sound or anything. It's literally just that freeze frame, and the title and the sequence goes on for like kind of a long time. So it just like again kind of puts you in this like weird off-putting feeling that I love.
Right.
And that's what I love so much about Scorsese is that he's such an artful, creative dude. Like, I mean, yeah, he can make like, your normal, awesome type of film that everybody can enjoy. And that's just something that he just does in general. But he always has little creative flares to him that is just like so uniquely him. And like that title card sequence in King of the Comedy is a perfect example of that.
Much of that film doesn't feel like a Scorsese movie. It's one of my favorites of his filmography, and it feels tonally original compared to a lot of his mob flicks that a lot of people associate him with. This film is anything but. And Robert De Niro playing a comedian, wow, that's interesting.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
You can make the case that's like his top 5. You said top 5, of course, Scorsese. That's top 5 De Niro, in my opinion, as well.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
Sorry, Bill, what were you saying?
I was just going to say that also a lot of people associate this film with Joker that came out quite recently, and how it borrowed, we'll say, with I'm doing quotation marks right now, borrowed a lot
nice
from
of you
the
to
King of
say
Comedy.
it. Yeah, it's nice of you to say it that way, but I don't want to get into a Joker fiasco.
No,
but I love the King of Comedy, and like shout out to After Hours too. You mentioned that, like I think that's a mega underrated Scorsese from the 80s. He got more like, I think, confidence in the 80s and started making things that were off kilter and less mainstream, like the King of Comedy, After Hours, Last Temptation of Christ, of course. Really found his groove. You can make the argument that's like might be like the apex of Scorsese, like through the 90s. Yeah. And shout out to who's the actress in the King of Comedy who plays the other obsessed fan. She's like so fucking good too. She's so crazy in that film too. She's great.
Who was that?
I'm looking it up as we speak.
For some reason I want to say Juliette Lewis, but I know it wasn't her.
No, definitely Juliette Lewis vibes.
Yeah.
Sandra Bernhard.
Oh, nice.
Sandra Bernhard. Yeah, shout out. She's insane in that movie. Hell yeah.
Who was the guy who played the talk show host in the
Jerry Lewis?
Yeah, that's cool that they got an actual talk show host for the film. It was probably an interesting experience for him to deal with that.
I would want to be in the room like when Scorsese's pitching to Jerry Lewis, like to be in this meta commentary about comedy and stuff. It's a wild movie for someone that famous to be in, for sure.
De Niro is so convincing in that movie. It genuinely feels like he's fucking deranged, and I wouldn't want to be in the same room as him.
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me want to do a top 5 like De Niro performances now.
Oh, that would be.
I'm just looking through his filmography. Yeah, that's harder than this. But I have a feeling we're going to talk about another Scorsese De Niro coming up down the pike. Bill Griff, you're number 4.
Yes, sir. All right. I'm going to keep this a bit more brief so we can move along. This film is one of my favorites of all time. Of course, it was actually one of the first Criterion movies I saw. One of my first Criterions ever. I remember specifically being in high school, and shout out to my English teacher who is so based. He introduced us to Kurosawa and Bergman and shit. Of course, when I was young back then, I didn't give a fuck. It was all boring black and white movies I had to read. But God bless him. God bless Michael. He showed us this movie, 1989's Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing. An absolute banger, in my opinion. Takes place in one day, set on one block in Brooklyn at the hottest day of the summer, and you just get to see everyone's life, the entire neighborhood and the community, and how they associate with one another. It has, in my opinion, one of the best ensemble casts I think I've ever seen. So many incredible characters. Oh, I see that. Yeah.
No Criterion, so it's
just waiting for the 4K.
We can't live up to, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you've got, of course, Spike Lee playing Mookie, pizza delivery guy. You've got a very young, pre-fame Sam Jackson playing Mr. Senior Love Daddy, the radio host.
The radio, yeah.
Demare, personally my favorite character of the film, who's just this bum who walks around and just is this oh god, he's such a character. Then there's Mother Sister sitting on the windowsill. There's Radio Raheem, and there's Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Bugging Out, someone you would not expect him to play. Like there's
yeah.
And then I haven't even talked about like the sons of the pizza store owner, who Danny Aiello's. What's his name?
Danny Aiello,
yeah.
Aiello, fucking great performance by him in this film. There's so much to look at with this film, and I feel like it's really rewatchable. Like I often try to watch this in the summer around 4th of July, oddly enough, to just get recaptured into that time capsule of the 80s and see what the culture was like for the kids there, and just it deals with racial tension in such a fascinating way that Spike Lee is well known for, and he's amazing at it. This is, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first film that really like brought him out into the spotlight and gave him the notoriety that he is now as a well-renowned filmmaker. Do the Right Thing. You gotta love it. It's a perfect film. Yeah.
That was, yeah. I have the Blu-ray because this was an honorable mention for me. And Mike brought this up in his comfort movies, so I'm glad we're on we're advocating so heavily. I agree. I think it's a masterpiece. I was also shown that, I think it was like creative writing class or something, like a really cool teacher showed us that film. And I like what you said about the 4th of July setting. I feel like that's really a great idea, because you could feel the unrelenting heat of that movie, like in the production design and the makeup and everything. You feel the tension just reaching like an obvious, like at the end, like a boiling point when shit hits the fan. One of the most important movies of all time, if not of the whole 80s, like as Roger Ebert said. It's such an incredible movie.
My two experiences with this movie were really I guess noteworthy to me, because I watched the movie the first time during like the peak of the protests in 2020, like smack dab in the middle when that was like at its highest. I was like, well, I guess I'll put on something that's like kind of relevant to the times. I mean, it's the sad part about it is it's like almost always relevant. Like these kind of like injustices and discrimination happens like 24/7. But God, watching it at that time just really fucking hit really absolutely hard. Like I fucking cried a lot during the ending. It's harsh to say the least. No, it's a wonderful film. I think it's incredible. And The second time I watched it with Perry in theaters, and that was also pretty great.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a awesome experience seeing that on the big screen with Perry.
Yeah, dude, I really love this film a lot too. This is a film that, I mean, pretty much everybody was like really pushing me to watch it, and I definitely wanted to watch it, but I was like thinking to myself, well, how great is it really? Because I've never really been the biggest Spike Lee fan. I didn't go into it expecting something that was actually going to be masterful, and I was wrong. This movie is masterful in my opinion. It's entertaining. It's deeply emotional. It's incredibly relevant. Just like the final 25-30 minutes of the film is just like riveting and emotionally draining and thrilling. It's to me it's perfectly escalated. Like, to see things escalate in the way that it does is perfectly paced and directed, and it makes so much sense, like, because we spend so much time with these characters and all their situations, and we get to know all their personalities, and to see like everything build up and escalate to what happens in the third act, it feels so not just purposeful, but it feels so natural and believable to the point where I think it impacts the viewer a lot more. But yeah, the film is so good, and yeah, I could see myself watching this a lot. I mean, I watched it twice, and it's just really, really great. I have I think it was the Oncoming Storm that requested this film to me, so I have a whole video on it if you want to see more thoughts on it. But yeah, really, really great film. It's a great pick.
Totally. I'm glad we're all on board with that, because I'm probably gonna advocate a lot for it when we're doing the top 10. So
Hell yeah.
So yeah, Criterion 4K coming out soon. I will cop that. All right, my number 4 is kind of akin to your title in a way. It's the second half of your title. It's just The Thing without "do the right" in front of it. John Carpenter is a filmmaker that means a tremendous amount to me. He kind of got me into movies at a really young age, and this is like the ultimate. First of all, it's like the ultimate dad movie, because like I've had every dad and uncle who knows I love movies recommend this movie to me, but for a good reason. I think it's one of the most pitch perfect horror films ever made. And Bill was saying about like the practicality of like practical effects of body horror became a very big phenomenon of the 80s. You could point to Cronenberg and all of them, Henenlotter, but Carpenter really perfected it in this film, in my opinion. And shout out to, I forget the makeup artist and designer of this film. He was like 21 years old, I think, when they made this film. And like his designs of the creatures in this film are just like mind-boggling how good they are. And yeah, and just like I think every shot, every cut, every artistic choice in this movie has a point to it. I think it's just like one of the most pitch perfectly directed movies in the horror genre ever. And it's a movie I've probably seen like 10 to 20 times at this point, and it's only gotten better with age. Like I remember seeing this film in Chicago on 70 millimeter, and just like the crowd, everyone's seen this movie plenty of times if you're a fan of Carpenter in this movie, but you can hear people gasping and like just kind of holding their breath, especially during the interrogation sequence. And every time the monsters sort of appear, I think it's a timeless movie, and so fun. Like I watch this was this a comfort movie? Because now I feel like I'm regurgitating myself, but I remember we were talking about movies that you could watch like in the wintertime, and The Thing is definitely one of those. Like you kind of cuddle up and just like enjoy the hell out of this movie. So yeah, it's like, as Bill said, picking a horror movie is tough in the 80s, but I kind of had to pick like objectively what I think is one of the best, but also a movie that means a lot to me and got me into films. But I think got a lot of people that are into horror films into like the genre and kind of escalated it. And yeah, Kurt Russell, looking like Jesus Christ, king shit. Yeah, that's my number 4. I love it to death. And obviously,
Kurt Russell's better than Jesus. Sorry.
I was gonna say,
whoa. Okay, John Lennon, hold up here.
Yeah, I was gonna say the film would actually been better if it was actually Christ coming down and saving everybody from the alien imitators.
it could have been Carpenter's intent. He's like, we have to have him look like Jesus. It's like it's a metaphor. The power of Christ compels him. Yeah. I don't know. Did Bill, you talked about that in comfort movies? I swear someone did.
Yeah, he did.
You did. Okay.
No,
one of my favorite.
I didn't. Bill did. Yeah.
This is one of my favorite comfort movies for sure. Yeah. Definitely my top 5 favorite horror films. It's the original Among Us. You gotta love it. You know? It's fun to watch it for a first time. Try to figure out who's sus, who isn't. You know?
Sus.
who
It's
are they gonna vote off?
Yeah, is McCready going to call a meeting and say someone vented, child's vented in reactor? Yeah,
it really has. Yeah,
it's 12 Angry Men in the Snow.
Yep, 12 Angry Scientists.
I'm having so much deja vu because we said all this shit before. But
yeah, we did.
I think I said verbatim certain things, but nonetheless, great film. And
absolutely.
Yeah. Carlito, I think it's you next. Yeah,
I think so. All right. So my number 4 is another Scorsese and Robert De Niro joint. It's not King of Comedy, but it is Raging Bull.
Wow. Double fisting.
Yeah. Double fisting here. Just to show you how much I love this film. I own the Normie Blu-ray before I caught the Criterion 4K.
4K, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Raging Bull so fucking much. This is a film that hold on, my cat is being annoying. I'll be right back.
Damn.
Little dead air action here.
All right, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Anyway, yeah, Raging Bull, dude. This is a film that, I mean, again, one of those films that you expect to be great because it's Martin Scorsese and Robert De Niro. But since it's like on the surface, you're like, okay, this is like a boxing film. So, you know, one of those things, like how fantastic is it really? You know, because there's been a bunch of sports dramas made, a lot of biopic type of stuff made, especially in the boxing arena. But this film is the most artful and just visceral exploration, character study type of sports drama. If you even want to call it that, calling it a sports drama doesn't even, I feel like, give it the right picture. Because it's a lot more visceral than you would expect. Robert De Niro gives, I think in my opinion, it might be my favorite performance from him. He just plays such a brilliant toxic masculinity domestic abuser that just is riddled with so many a lot of internal psychological and emotional issues that do again root back to this kind of hyper masculine bravado that he has. But you can tell him as a character is actually very sensitive and very emotional. He just doesn't know how to, contain and release his emotions in a healthy way. Which again comes off very toxic and overly jealous, overly envious. This film is just so great. And again, Joe Pesci is in this movie. And this is one of the only Joe Pesci roles that I've seen where he actually plays the normal character. Yeah. The one that isn't hot-headed, the one that is more reasonable.
The level-headed one, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just really interesting to see his dynamic here with Robert De Niro, who again, Robert De Niro is the one that plays the one that is super irrational. And to see him contrast with him, I think is just it's an absolute delight. I think they're both fantastic in the film. It's a film that is never boring. Such a just again, such a really compelling character study. All the acting across the board is fantastic. And it is, as I tried to say like earlier, in terms of presentation, it's to me really creative. Again, this is a film where the opening credits is just like, it's so like, it feels so euphoric and so immersive. It's like the slow motion shot we get of Robert De Niro's character in the boxing ring. Just absolutely beautiful stuff. But yeah, honestly, it's been a very long time since I've seen it, but I remember so much of it. And just like the way that the film concludes with Robert De Niro's character, like in the third act of the film. It's again really, really compelling filmmaking, not only from like a directing standpoint, but just from like a writing standpoint. Really great. And Robert De Niro, some of his best acting comes from that third act. It's insane how far he goes, not only with like his physical transformation, but just like the kind of like emotional anguish that he puts his character and his performance through. It's so admirable to see him do something like that. It's really, really incredible stuff. But yeah, I'll stop going on about it. Raging Bull's so fucking amazing. I love it so much.
In my opinion, Raging Bull is the quintessential biopic. I think it is done with so much clarity and realism to it, where you don't paint this guy as someone he's not. You truly just show him exactly like the animal he is, Jake LaMotta. Because so many modern biopic films like Elvis and Bohemian Rhapsody and a few others, they just don't portray the character. They don't show the darknesses that these people have gone through in their lives. And Raging Bull does not shy away from the darkness at all. They, if anything, shine a floodlight against it and remind you of the terrible things this person's done, not just the great things. And so I'm glad that Scorsese went with that direction when approaching this film. And also, a fun fact about this is that Scorsese was in the hospital for a drug overdose because he was doing like some hardcore drugs. I don't know if it was heroin or something like that, like a hardcore drug. And De Niro came to his hospital and gave him the book, Jake LaMotta's autobiography, and told him, you need to make this movie because what you're doing right now with your life, it's not it. This is not what you should be doing. And Scorsese took his advice and cast De Niro, got the rights, and boom. Didn't this win quite a few Oscars too? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely won Best Actor and Best Edited. And I love that story because Scorsese always looks back on this film. I've heard like so many interviews. He's like, that movie changed my career. And it was all because like Robert De Niro was so passionate about the source material and like adapting to that character because it meant so much to him. Like, say, kind of like similar to like what they were talking about, The Irishman. Like they felt so deeply connected to this world and these themes that these kind of the source material had. And I have no problem saying like Raging Bull is one of the greatest performances ever put on film, which we've been saying a lot in this episode. But like that, the way that movie unravels and like how I love movies where it's about such a renowned figure and such someone who's on top of the world, like financially and kind of like class system, just like on top of the world, and yet they're so hollow. They have nothing in their heart. Like you look at Citizen Kane or There Will Be Blood, Raging Bull, like top tier character studies. They all kind of share that similarity, in my opinion, and like that's like Scorsese's kind of version of exploring humanity in such a deep way. And it just so happens to be a biopic. Like I honestly forget a lot that that's a biopic because it feels so much richer and deeper than any other biopic that has come out since then, frankly.
Yeah, because a lot of biopics just like to play it safe, kind of like what Bill said. And what I love so much about Raging Bull is that it doesn't like try to mask the main character's personality and flaws. Like what it does is it shows you right from the get-go who this character is and their flaws, and it doesn't make an excuse for it, because like in a lot of biopics, they kind of wait until the character gets famous and like runs into a lot of like betrayal and a lot of like it runs into a lot of issues that would make them downfall, and therefore kind of blaming the fame and everything, like turning them into a monster or something. But in Raging Bull, it's like, no, he already had the tendency to be a monster right from the get-go. So it's not like, it doesn't even try to like pretend that like, oh, it was fame's problem or it was like a wealth problem or anything. It's like, no, this was just something that he struggled with as a human being, and it just happened to intensify later because of fame and everything else. But yeah,
totally
pure self-destruction.
Yeah, the prison scene I always sticks in my head when he finally like he just like completely explodes, and it's like heart-wrenching, that sequence. And De Niro is like giving everything he has in that scene.
That scene gives me chills just thinking about it.
And the final shot with the mirror, which Boogie Nights paid homage to. I always think about that weird duality. But yeah, I feel like I could talk about Raging Bull forever too. It's like so much to unpack. I do want to correct one thing I said about no biopics being better than Raging Bull since then, because I forgot about Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. Nothing beats that.
That movie is amazing.
and Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. So I just had to correct the record there.
All I want to add is that Carlos pushed me to watch Raging Bull for fucking like four fucking years. When I finally did get around to watching it, it did not disappoint. I think it's incredible, and I don't really have anything new to say. You guys really summed it up beautifully. I just think it's one of the most like riveting movie experiences I've probably ever had. It was completely engaging, start to finish, and yeah, it's if somehow nobody included it in this list for whatever reason, it definitely would have been above King of Comedy. It's probably my second favorite Scorsese.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
To be honest, I thought you were gonna be like, Carlos pushed me to watch it, but it was mid. That's why you haven't said anything.
No.
Because Carlos sometimes does that. He's like, yeah, I watched that. It was like 6 out of 10.
No. Raging Bull is undeniably.
You gotta be a fucking idiot to be like, yeah, mid.
Yeah, I actually know that idiot, but I won't say their name.
Oh, sorry. Shit.
Oh shit.
No, it's okay.
I just put someone on blast.
No, I don't care about this person.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's no offense. Yeah, there's no offense taken here.
Awesome. Alrighty. Blaire, you're next. Yeah, you're number 4.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, my number 4 was originally The Thing, but it's okay. I found a replacement. I can roll with it. So the one I'm gonna go with is a movie that's very fresh in my head because we literally just talked about it for a conversation. It's Vagabond by Agnes Varda.
I love that movie.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, and what's funny is I didn't get a chance to talk about it because I was working so late, but so I'll do it here. Yeah, I honestly think this movie is a fucking masterpiece. I really loved Cleo from 5 to 7, and this was such a different experience. I think I don't know if this is a spoiler or not. Actually, no, because it's literally in the synopsis on Letterboxd. But the movie starts out, and we know where this character ends up, and like just from that get-go, the way it was like filmed and set up, it was just really chilling. And the way we kind of just learn about her adventure, kind of being this homeless woman. Was really interesting because we don't necessarily know why she's chosen this lifestyle or the circumstances that's led to this lifestyle, but we do infer as the audience, like, obviously some kind of fucked up circumstances that we don't know the particulars of led to this decision, or maybe it's her completely rejecting this kind of like oppressive capitalistic society that everybody has to fucking partake in. Kind of reminds me of like almost like Jeanne Dielman in a way, like very different experience, but kind of like in that important thematic in those thematic ways. Yeah, I also think this movie is like beautifully shot, and this movie really surprised me by how much I fucking loved it. It's kind of also a character study, but it feels like a different kind of character study than like Raging Bull or King of Comedy. And I definitely recommend people seek this movie out because it's definitely not talked about enough. It's definitely worth a watch. I love this movie a lot. So yeah.
First of all, I apologize for taking the thing from you because that was a last minute switch for me as well.
Oh, no worries.
But second of all, it was an absolute king move to take out a John Carpenter movie and put an Agnes Varda movie in. So I commend that. And I love that film too. It's so good.
Yeah. So. And the performance, I can't believe I didn't mention the main performance. She does an incredible job. Like,
yeah,
not only in like the way she emotes and acts, but like her appearance and stuff has all those details that you would like expect from this kind of character. Like there are close-up shots of like her fingernails, and they're just all fucking gritty and dirty. And I don't know much about this actress. I assume this is like a actress from our country, but if you told me like this is like somehow autobiographical or like a biography, I would believe it. It feels so fucking real. It feels like they just like Agnes Varda just like followed some homeless woman, if that makes sense. But no, it's an amazing movie. I love it.
Very guerrilla style filmmaking at times, where she has interactions. You feel like you're just a fly on the wall to her experience, for sure.
It is a very fly on the wall kind of movie now that I think about it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's heartbreaking too. It is. The third act of the movie just I don't want to like boil it down and just say like it did make me feel like sad, but it did have this kind of like melancholic, like this fucking really hit me deep like feeling.
Totally.
It has a very like it is what it is type of emotion to it, which can be kind of depressing in a way.
It's a little nihilistic. It's not overtly nihilistic, but it just kind of has that underlying in its themes.
I feel like compared to other Agnes Varda films, it's definitely more melancholic and downbeat.
My kind of movies.
No, totally. I agree. Yeah. Cleo's pretty bleak too, but it's not. This takes it to another level for sure. I've loved everything I've seen from Agnes Varda, by the way. She's a legend for a reason.
Yeah, I need to watch more from her. I've only seen Vagabond and Cleo.
You trying to cop that box set during the sale?
Oh shit. Probably not, just because I want the Fellini box set really bad, and I also want the Demi box set really bad. But then after that, I'll go for Varda's box set.
I've only. Oh,
go ahead. Sorry. Go no, I was gonna spill the same question, but go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I've only seen Vagabond. That's the only Varda film that I've seen, and it was awesome. So I can't wait to see more of her stuff. She rocks.
Oh,
it'd be cool to get Jacques Demy and Agnes Varda box sets together.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Like a nice little, Sorry, what were you saying?
I want to shout out my friend Eugene. His favorite movie is Cleo from 5 to 7, and I think it's super fucking awesome that he loves that movie to death. Like it's again, it's one of those movies that like I don't feel like gets talked enough about, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does in certain communities. I don't know.
Yeah, no, totally agree.
Shout out to Eugene and Rigby also.
Yes, Rigby.
The two Varda fans that come to my mind.
Absolutely.
Shout out to all the Varda stands.
Yeah, I'm currently actually in the middle of binging a few of her, like all of her documentaries. So yeah, it's been enjoyable so far.
I really want to see the Gleaners, and I heard is really good.
That's like one of her highest rated films behind The Beaches of Agnes.
Of course, yeah. And the Black Panther documentary looks obviously
looks great.
Really great.
Oh yeah, that was great. That's probably my favorite of her documentaries that I've seen so far. Sounds really good.
Oh hell yeah. And Faces Places I've heard is really, really good. Like her and the other guy, JR. Yeah. Shout out to Agnes. Love her. Bill, you want to go next?
Shout out to Varda if you're listening out.
Yeah, she's listening.
She's up in heaven playing the pod. Yeah, totally.
She's like, listen to me. They're talking about us.
There's some film bros down there. They love us.
All right, I'm gonna bring the mood down because Blair said nihilistic, and I'm like, hell yeah, this is my number 3. Because one of my favorite genres ever, and a genre I wanted to include here, is anti-war. And better yet, why not hit 2 birds with 1 stone? I'm going with an anti-war animation from the 80s. One of my favorites from Studio Ghibli, that being 1988's Grave of the Fireflies.
Yes.
Nice.
Not from Miyazaki. This is actually from Isao Takahata. I think this is one of the only Ghibli films he directed. It has often been considered the black sheep in Studio Ghibli's filmography because it's just so different from the remainder of the films, to say it lightly. And to go off of the synopsis, it takes place during the final months of World War II, where a 14-year-old boy and his little sister are orphaned when their family is killed during an air raid in Japan. After falling out with their aunt, they move into an abandoned bomb shelter with no surviving relatives and their emergency rations depleting. The 2 children struggle to survive, and that is an understatement because this film is truly a gut punch to your humanity. Yeah. If you're a human being, that is, if you actually have feelings, I feel like this movie will kind of destroy you. It's so emotionally charged and fucking beautifully animated. My God, there's so many just sequences that I can think of in my head. Even the use of the fireflies from the title of this movie, they're so beautiful.
I know, God.
They add this little twinge of hope, this little inkling of hope in there. But this really is just a hopeless movie. It makes you just hate how our world operates and hate how these so many people are affected that aren't in the conflict. Like, these children aren't serving in war. They're literally civilians being destroyed. Their lives are being destroyed and obliterated because of two people going at war that happen to be in the vicinity of it. And Grave of the Fireflies is, in my opinion, one of the best anti-war films, and is a great film to show children to just kind of, well, it is to get them kind of educated slowly in the totality of war and how gruesome it can be. And I feel like it's easily digestible for children, unlike some other war films out there. This is a good one for them to start off with. And
then Apocalypse Now, you could show them the next week, and then keep elevating.
Double feature with Full Metal Jacket.
Yep.
And then you can show them Come and See.
The final
all 3 films all at once.
The final boss is Elmore Kilmoff. Totally. Yeah. He's like 100 feet high. He's like, fuck with me. I'm getting choked up just thinking about this movie again. I'll be honest. I'm just thinking about them in the cave, and the way you were describing them as like just civilians in the crossfires of like all that is wrong with humanity. Like that movie is, yeah, it's just a hopeless, dreary, but so beautiful at the same time. I can't say a bad thing about it. It's so effective.
I mean, before I watched Grave of the Fireflies, I heard so much about it. Not like necessarily narrative wise, but just the fact that it was like one of the saddest movies like most people have ever seen. And I was like, all right, let me fucking buckle up for this. And yeah, I'm glad I buckled up because yeah, they're not wrong. This movie is like probably one of the most emotionally draining films I've ever witnessed in my entire life. I mean, I remember in the third act of this film, I cried like sequentially like 3 different times because of certain things that happened. It was like, okay, this thing happened. I'm in tears. All right. I kind of get over it for like 5 minutes. Something else happens. I'm in fucking tears. And then I get over it for 5 minutes. And finally something else happens in the end. I'm just like in complete shambles. And it's like hard to like, it's a film that like once you're watching it, once it's over, it's hard to like pick yourself back up from it. It just kind of like breaks you down into like little tiny pieces. But yeah, it's The Grave of the Fireflies is such an amazing movie. I haven't seen it since I saw it like 2 or 3 years ago, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't know why I'm going to see that movie again because it's so emotionally like impactful and it just takes a lot out of you as a person, as a human being. Like Bill said, if you're a human being with feelings, then I just feel like emotionally it's going to be like one of the most compelling and draining experiences you'll ever have.
It truly is a gut punch to your humanity when you watch it.
Yeah. Well, lucky for me, I'm AI now, so I don't have feelings. I can watch it whenever. No, yeah, God, that movie's amazing. And it does stick out as such a, not even a sore thumb, but just like an outlier in Ghibli's output as like, they're all comforting in their own ways and deeply profound. And that one just like rips your soul apart. I mean, would you show your kids that movie? Like what age would be the right one to witness horrific things like that?
Maybe 8.
Like 8 or 10. Yeah. Sure. I could see that. Yeah. I can get on board with that.
The age of Setsuko.
The kid that
whatever age.
The kid in the cave. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. Man. Anti-war, man. That I'll do my number 3 because I also picked an anti-war film. I was worried you were gonna pick mine just because it's so obvious, but we just mentioned it. But Come and See is my number 3 film. Another like how could I not pick like Paris, Texas. I was late to the game on this one. I'll be honest. Like people for years have been telling me to watch it, and I didn't watch it till like 2020, like during the pandemic. I decided to throw this on, but quite literally lived up to all of the hype that had been generated around this movie for me. I mean, like Bill was saying with anti-war movies, you know, like they're not, some of them hit better than others, and some can be more standard issue and formulaic. But I feel like from the first frame of Come and See, like it is the most like grounded, fever dream depiction of war that you could ever think of. I mean, other ones come to mind that are close to it, but like, talk about a movie that makes you just give up on humanity and kind of just succumb to like all the nihilistic thoughts you've ever had about, you know, war and like, obviously like the Nazi regime and everything that's depicted in this film. And like, just the fact that you're following this teenage boy throughout this film is like, I guess through Bill's logic, maybe you could like a 15-year-old would throw this on and really find it really an engaging experience. But like, there's the way his psyche sort of devolves, and it kind of mirrors how everything escalates throughout this movie and like his surroundings and everything. It's just breathtaking stuff, and one of the best shot, like the handheld cinematography and like the colors and like the landscapes and how everything, oftentimes you don't see the villains a lot of the time. I'm saying the villains, like but like the Nazis and the Russians in this film.
They are villains.
Yeah. Yeah. But man, I'm thinking right now about the barn sequence towards the end of this film, and
fuck yeah,
the sound. Not to get into too much detail, I don't want to spoil too much about this film if anyone out there hasn't seen it. But
the back at the barnyards reference.
Yeah, the animated cow has to save the farm. You all know the plot.
When Otis comes and sees.
I was gonna say it's like more like Chicken Run, the plot of Chicken Run, but
actually, yeah, that makes sense.
It's exactly like that.
Neither here nor there. I was gonna say the sound design in that sequence, which is like a 25-minute just grueling, gut-wrenching sequence, is like I remember watching that movie with headphones on, and I was like, I felt just like my soul slowly like depleting throughout that sequence. And then I think one of the best editing. People don't talk about this sequence as much. Like the final edit of this movie, when he's kind of all the Hitler footage is sort of spliced together, and he's kind of like, spoilers, he's like shooting the guy. It's like
I love that fucking scene. It's gut wrenching.
It's gut wrenching. Yeah, it's like it's Bob Fosse level editing, where it's just like some of the best editing I've ever seen in a movie. And yeah, I mean, I feel like Bill's pick might be better in terms of anti-war because it's not so on the nose. Because like whenever someone brings up anti-war, it's like, oh, Come and See is like the obvious, but like. Yeah. I think nonetheless one of the great films of the 80s, and I'm dying to see The Ascent, which is directed by Elmore Kimhoff's wife.
Oh man,
right? Which I can't remember if that was on one of your guys' lists in the 70s, but nonetheless, like amazing.
Yeah, it was it was on my 70s list.
Right, totally.
Yeah, to me that's a fucking masterpiece, man. I have no doubt that you'll love it. I can't guarantee you'll say it's a masterpiece, but I know that that you would love it.
Totally, yeah. And last thing I'll say, like the fact that the director of Come and See retired after this movie, I don't want to butcher the quote, but I think he said something along the lines of like, I don't think I could ever make a film. This is like all of my artistic endeavors thrown into one film, and like I don't think I'll ever get better than that. So might as well like retire on top, which for kind of a shame in certain ways. Like I haven't seen his other films. I'm sure they're great, but imagine what he would have done post Come and See, like with the juices of making a movie that visceral. And
he would have made something very wholesome.
He would have made Jack and Jill. Maybe.
He would have made Free Guy, yeah.
Adam Sandler and imagine him in Come and See.
Yep.
Dude, real quick, yeah, Come and See is like one of the greatest films of all time for me. I adore. Obviously, oh my god, yeah, visceral is the best way to describe it, and very, very, very disturbing.
Yeah, I just recently rewatched Come and See with a buddy of mine. He's not a movie fan necessarily, but we were very drunk, and he said, "Man, we gotta watch Come and See." I'm like, "Do you want the vibe to be brought down?" And he's like, "I know this movie's good. I gotta see it." And so we watched it, and you know what? The vibe was actually still great. He absolutely loved the movie a lot. And I'm glad. It just goes to show that even when you're drunk and watched The Greasy Strangler, you can watch Come and See right after and still be mesmerized from it. So
your friend sounds based. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah. He also
his top you cherish.
His top 10 includes Harakiri also, and
nice.
It's amazing.
Parasite.
I want a friend that gets drunk and it's like, yo, I gotta watch Come and See.
Funny enough, I would be the one to be like, let's watch something a little bit lighter if we're like drinking together. But like that sounds like a fun experience nonetheless.
Yeah. Shout out to Ethan if you're listening here, bro. He also did the same thing with Ichi the Killer. He's like, it's got a cum pool title sequence. We gotta watch that.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, I think next he's gonna get drunk and be like, yo, we gotta watch Irreversible, bro.
No, we're done. I'm drawing the line there. Or Showa. Neither of those.
I remember I watched Climax with two of my friends a few weeks ago, and we were kind of drunk, and that was like such a fun experience.
Yeah, I was gonna say that actually sounds like a fun experience watching that fucking drunk.
Yeah, when you're like a few beers deep, like you're riding the wave of Gaspar Noé's insanity in that movie, and you're like, maybe doing acid during this movie would be even better. But hell yeah.
I'm actually gonna watch Irreversible tomorrow in 35 millimeter theater screening.
Lucky.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting experience.
I'm waiting for my Vinegar Syndrome to show up. It's not actually Vinegar Syndrome, it's one of the partner labels, but that's gonna have to be my replacement instead.
I'm watching it. I don't know how many people are gonna show up. They played it once already on Monday. I don't know how the turnout was for that, but I don't know. I heard some people on the website of the theater, they were like talking in the comment section. There's a bunch of people that are like, oh, I'm surprised that they're even playing this movie. It's just like way too, like triggering or whatever. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, personally, I would love to see it in a packed crowd. That seems like a film that I would like to see in a packed crowd. So yeah.
When the movie ends, you could stand up and be like, everyone check out my analyzed video of the fire extinguisher scene. Subscribe to the channel.
I actually
Check out
have
movies you love.
Movies you love.
We got a fire. We got a fire hydrant situation
Here.
How many atheists you think they killed with a fire hydrant?
How many atheists got killed during the screening of Irreversible?
A 35 millimeter.
How many atheists you think walked down the red tunnel?
Oh no.
Oh man. Sorry, Jake.
Sorry about that. They had to do it to him.
Should I cut that out? Is that like some? Did you just curse the podcast?
I mean,
I have no idea what that reference was to.
It's so funny.
TLDR in joke in another podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's literally what it is.
Just keep it. It's Brett Keane.
Keep it.
All right.
Rick Keane lore.
No, I believe you.
Anyway, who's next?
Come and pee.
Come and pee.
That should be the title of the pod instead,
Yeah, it's called like Come and Pee.
Come and pee, the best of the 80s with Bill Griff. Come and pee to listen to Bill Griff's ASMR. Who was next? It was you, Carlos, yeah. Oh
shit. All right. So like Bill Griff, I'm also going to be picking a Japanese film. This is a film that I unfortunately don't own on Blu-ray yet because it's part of a box set for Arrow, I believe. And I haven't been brave enough to spend money on the box set. But that film is called Tetsuo the Iron Man. This film is, I watched this film in preparation for like a disturbing / horror movies video that I was going to make. And I did not expect this film to blow me the fuck away in the way that it did. This is a film that is mind-blowingly created and expertly crafted. The editing in this film is, it's unbelievable how much time is spent on the editing to this film. And it's just so visceral and boundary pushing and abstract and in ways terrifying and ways comedic. It's just such a brilliant piece of bizarre metaphorical horror that is just, it's amplified by its wonderful creative vision. Especially for a low budget film. This film was made with a really low budget. And again, a lot of the special effects and the prop work and the production design, and again, the amount of time and creative effort that was poured into the editing is absolutely insane. It's a huge reason as to why this film works so well. And yeah, there's just so many scenes in this movie that I just think are unlike anything you'll ever see in any not the beginning, but like in the first act of this movie, you get this like this like hallway chase. All of a sudden, you get a chase sequence, and what it leads to is like one of the most bizarre, like sexual assault / like rape type scenes that is just like, oh my God, it's just unlike anything that you've seen portrayed in that way. And to me, it's brilliant. Like, I mean, it's not like as difficult to watch as like most sexual assault scenes, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. It depends, really. I think I forgot who it was, but somebody watched this film based on my rec, and they were like, "What the fuck? You didn't tell me about this." So they were kind of upset.
Oh.
But in my opinion, like compared to stuff that I've seen, it like what's more jarring about it is just how bizarre it is, more than like the violent act itself, in my opinion. Because it's just so out there and so creative. But I love it. Like it's just like that scene that's one of my favorite scenes of the movie. It's just so fucking great. But yeah, I love this one to death. This is it's certainly experimental. It's almost in the same vein as like something like Eraserhead. It's also in black and white too. But I don't know, they're both batshit. Both Tetsuo and Eraserhead are both absolutely batshit films. But it's definitely experimental in a very similar kind of way. It's very metaphorical, excellent prop work, excellent editing, and everything like that. So yeah, I highly recommend Tetsuo, the Iron Man. Obviously, I heard the second one's also really good too. So I'm just gonna eventually fork up the money. But the next Arrow sale, I might just go ahead and get the box set. I forgot the filmmaker. I love the movie so much, but I forgot the filmmaker's name.
It's like Shinya. I don't want to butcher his last name, but
yeah, that's
Shinya Tsukamoto.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he has his own box set for Arrow that I really at this point I really want to get. So,
nice.
I'll be getting that soon. But yeah, if nobody's seen the film yet, please go out and see it. I mean, if you're not into like batshit experimental cinema, then don't really bother. But like, if that's your vibe and you just really appreciate films like that, check it out. I mean, even if you really love horror in general, like you just love horror films, I say fuck it. Why not? Just give it a shot. But yeah, it's my number 3, Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Love that pick. Some of the best, like most insane camera work I've ever seen in a film, I remember. And like the whole cyberpunk design of this whole world, and like the honestly, it's a blur to me, this movie. I don't remember most of what happened, but I just remember the visceral experience that it gave me, and how wild of the craftsmanship of it is, you know?
Yep.
Totally a movie worth buying on Arrow, because like it's an auditory, like visual experience where like it's just so enhanced by great visuals and audio. It's just such a
it's one of those movies that like I think most people are going to watch it and not understand exactly what they watched because it is very experimental in that way. But like you said, it's such an immersive experience because of the visuals and because of the sound and because of the editing and just the presentation overall. It's such a absorbing type of like horror experience that even if you don't really like get anything that you saw, you're still going to come out of it being kind of wowed by it.
Totally. I don't know if you guys saw Mad God that came out last year, but that could be a very similar sensation. It's where it was so abstract and like crazy, but it kind of, the craftsmanship of it all and how it made me feel was what drove like the substance of that movie. And I felt the same way of Tetsuo. So
I feel like I would like Mad God.
Mad God is definitely Carlos core. If you ask me,
it is.
It's totally Carlos core. But
I agree.
Hell yeah!
Have y'all seen Tetsuo, Bill and Blaire?
I have. Yeah,
I've not seen Tetsuo.
I thought it was pretty good. I don't know if I'd put it on my top 5 80s list, but I think that makes up for my Possession pick and your. So I pick Possession, you pick Tetsuo. It's like we're even now.
Yeah, they are. They are in a way like in a similar spirit of filmmaking.
True.
They really are. Yeah, I agree.
I feel like I'd love it, but I just have not seen it for some reason. I have no idea why.
Dude, to me, it's also like Blaire core. So
I believe it. I absolutely believe it.
It's a great movie. Pro tip: if you want to buy the Arrow, like during the Barnes and Noble sale, all Arrows are like half off, I believe, as well. So, if anyone wants to, or if you want to buy the set,
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Bill, you're next, or Blair. Sorry, you're next, right? Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this movie is a movie I watched recently within the last 2 months. Yeah. So this is Blowout by Brian De Palma. So the first time I watched this, I liked it. I liked it a lot actually, but this second time I absolutely fell in love with it. It's a movie that really does feel like it really feels like the 80s style, but the way it was expertly made by Brian De Palma, I think, really elevates it, and also has my personal favorite performance by John Travolta. Obviously, it goes without saying the sound design for this movie is like god tier. I'm
Next
really
level.
big on sound, and there's just so many great little details and moments that are just conveyed with the sound. And the whole conspiracy angle is just so fascinating to watch unravel. As far as off the top of my head, it's my favorite movie based off of a conspiracy, just because I love the way that John Travolta figures out this whole mystery and the kind of lengths and all the obstacles thrown in his way. It's really amazingly done. And I get that the movie has like some like logical inconsistencies, I guess. Like I've heard complaints about that, but due to the style, it's like not a big deal to me at all. Like for what it makes up with, and like for what it lacks in its, I guess, logical conclusions, I think more it makes up with in its style and its directing and acting, and cinematography. If you haven't seen this movie, of course, I definitely highly recommend it. It's not an action movie, but like I get that kind of excitement and almost like adrenaline while watching this movie. The third act definitely does have a kind of faster paced, almost action kind of thing going on, but yeah, overall it's really riveting in my opinion. I don't know how much you guys like Blowout, but to me it's fucking phenomenal.
I think Blowout is a great example of the 80s thriller genre that came to fruition. It hits all those bars and hits them quite well, in my opinion. Also, it tackles the themes of conspiracy so well, I think, that not many films have done quite well. Like I'm the only film that comes to mind that harkens to this is The Conversation, which is another film I know that Blair likes. So yeah, Blowout is a great film. I'm glad you had this on your list.
Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorite films of all time. I almost brought it up, but I saw you had it, and I kind of wanted to pawn it off to you.
Thank you.
I think Blowout's my second favorite Brian De Palma film.
It's
Scarface is my number one still. I know it's cliche, but I can't help it. I love that movie.
It's so hard to rank De Palma, but like Blowout, like for me, it's Blowout, Carrie, and Scarface. There's so many, but Blowout's like you were saying with the conspiracy angle, like it's so smartly like comments on like it's like kind of like I don't know if it's pre or post Reagan and stuff, but like Watergate and all that stuff, and like kind of like interference, meddling with elections. Like it's kind of a precursor to like all these crazy conspiracy movies that would come later, but like it does it in such a digestible human like storytelling method of just like John Travolta is such a relatable like everyman character. And I always love the scene in Blowout when they just go to a bar in the middle of like this crazy thriller and like talk for 10 minutes, and you kind of learn that what John Travolta's backstory is and like her backstory. Like it's such a confident movie in my opinion. Like Blair was saying, like it's so entertaining and so well paced and so riveting. yeah, I love it. I love it to death. If you wouldn't have taken it, I would have taken it as well. It's one of my favorite movies. And we lost Carlos.
Oh no.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just keep going. Just keep going. I'll figure it out.
One last thing I want to say is like, even though I think De Palma's direction is immaculate in the movie, I think it would be way lessened if John Travolta wasn't the star of the movie, because
amazing. Yeah.
Like it just fits his fucking like acting so well. It's fucking perfect for him. And he's so believable and so entertaining. Like he never undersells like a line. Any line in this movie is delivered so well from Travolta.
Totally agree. I remember I heard Tarantino say like John Travolta in Blowout's one of the greatest performances on film. And I hadn't seen Blowout. I'm like, there's no way. It's John Travolta. And still kind of a far-fetched comment, but like when I saw the movie, like, holy shit, like one of the best performances in any like thriller from that era, no doubt. And I also wanted to talk about the opening scene of that movie is so fucking cool.
I love that.
Or the fake out horror movie, like just
it's funny too. It has I love the sense of humor to Blowout.
It is, yeah. De Palma's always had a weird comedic edge to all of his movies. Even Scarface is kind of like so operatic and over the top. Like I laugh at Scarface as well.
Oh, dude, same. Sorry about my camera, by the way.
You're good.
My battery died. When it's plugged in the computer, it's supposed to stay charged, but I don't know. Decided to fuck me, I guess.
Damn. Your video is fucked.
I was alone for a second on screen, I guess.
I mean, if the new battery put in dies again, I'll just pull out my phone and I'll just do it old fashioned style.
Oh wow,
nice. Give us the house tour, walk around. Hey, by the way, Carlos, off topic, but when are you gonna do your live stream with that Criterion wall? Because that's looking pretty out of place. Is like I see Do the Right Thing right in the middle. Like that makes no sense at all.
How do you organize those?
It's not organized at all. It's chaos.
He literally just throws them in. Like it's
just buy a new one and throw it in.
It's such an eyesore.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. They were all arranged alphabetically at one point, and then when I did the Criterion Collection video with Perry and Blaire, it just got all fucked. The order got all fucked, and at the moment I didn't feel like putting him back in order again, and I just threw them all on the shelf. And I told I told myself that I would do it like the next day, and I never did ever since. I just never fucking done it. But Bill gave me a great idea. He said I should live stream organizing the shelf, and I think that would be fun because I could talk about like the movies like while I do it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's such a chore doing that. Yeah, monetize that shit. Anyhow, Bill, your turn.
Yes. All right. It's not an 80s list without the man, the myth, the legend himself. You know, Carlos, I had to do it to you. I know this is a meme. I know you notoriously kind of hate this film to an extent, but
I know it's coming.
I love this film. This is actually my most rewatched film on Letterboxd. It is my go-to Tinder date movie. This is 1986's Blue Velvet from David Lynch.
I like Blue Velvet. What you mean, man?
I mean, your Criterion Hall's beg to differ, man.
Yeah, if anyone's seen your videos, I feel like
you treat that shit like he's Connor Roy, dude. What the fuck are you doing?
It was always in my maybe pile. That's something.
Yeah. I mean, Blue Velvet, what is there to say about it that hasn't been said already? It's Lynch in his prime. It is so unorthodox. It is like it pays homage to Hitchcock thrillers, but I love this Letterboxd review. I'm just gonna say what it was. It's where it's a Hitchcock thriller, but if Hitchcock was possessed by a demonic incubus, and that's exactly what Blue Velvet is.
Yeah.
Kyle MacLachlan with his lovely little earring comes back home to Lumberton because his father has a stroke and, just stumbles upon an ear in a field. And that leads him to many fun adventures, many loss of innocence, and an out fucking standing performance from Dennis Hopper as the antagonist, Frank Booth, Mr. Franklin Booth himself, a guy who you only wish to never meet in your lifetime. He's that guy that is the stuff of nightmares. In my opinion, he's one of the best antagonists ever put to film. I'll say it. He's better than Heath Ledger's Joker. I'm saying it right now. Yeah, I know. Shocking. He's better than TikTok's. He's better than TikTok's most voted scariest movie to watch at night by yourself, Shutter Island. It's Blue Velvet is just such an incredible film that I adore greatly, and is one of the best Freudian slip films to watch too.
Ooh.
So, yeah, that's Blue Velvet. What do you got, Carlos? What do you think about Blue Velvet?
Our opinion doesn't matter. It's only Carlos's.
Blue Velvet. It's a great movie. All right.
I don't believe that's
Blue Velvet. No, like the thing is, like with Blue Velvet, I really dig the movie, but since I feel like since I'm not on the masterpiece train, I get viewed as somebody who just doesn't really give a shit about it. But I do like everything that Bill said. I pretty much agree with. Like Dennis Hopper in the film is like, he gets a performance that's unlike any other. Honestly, it's such a unique, outlandish, at times comedic, but at times the most disturbing performance you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Lynch's ability to kind of like blend surrealness and blend the suburban America with like with a more like darker shadow of society that are like side by side with each other, I think is really, really great. Yeah, look, I really, really like the film. I do. I mean, eventually I bought it after like 800 times putting it in the maybe pile. I eventually bought it. But I'm just not like necessarily on the masterpiece train. Like there's a few things about it that I'm not necessarily huge on. Mostly has to do with like writing, like some of the dialogue here and there. Hey, there it is.
Represent.
Look how gorgeous this cover, the whole packaging of this movie.
If they do a 4K HDR, I'm double dipping the shit out of that thing.
Same here.
I'm about to get it so I can prove.
Carlos's is all.
Yeah, good luck trying to find it.
There's like scorch marks on it. He spit on it when he brought it home.
Spit on it.
Do you use that? Do you use that criterion to level your camera when you film vlogs here? That's
Oh man.
Is that also your coaster you use on the basis?
Yeah.
That's like the cinnamon raisin bagel of your collection there. The one that some
you
people
use that.
It makes a good paperweight.
Oh god.
No.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, really the main issues I have with it come down to writing and here and there, and then some parts of it but this is like a similar thing I have with Lynch, like in most of his movies. Even though I really love most of his stuff, there's just something about some of his movies where like he's going for something that is profound or scary, and to me sometimes it just comes off corny. Like with the ending of Blue Velvet, something about it don't sit right with me. Like it just feels like I don't know. Like I get what it was going for thematically and narratively, but something about it it's not hitting right. And now I watched it twice and I felt that same way the second time, but I still really like the movie. I think I gave it a soft 8. I think that's about right for me.
You must love Heineken, don't you?
Fuck that shit. Pass Blue Ribbon.
So do you prefer like David Lynch's Dune over that in your Lynch ranking?
Oh hell no!
I'd love to see your Lynch ranking.
Oh my god, I hate David Lynch's Dune. I straight up hate it. I just it was so fucking boring and just bad. I just ugh.
Yeah, it's a rough one for sure. I love the movie too. It's a 10 out of 10. So I have nothing to add. I think Bill beautifully summed it up. So hashtag PBR.
Yeah.
So hell yeah. My turn. My number 2. I'll be quick about this shit because this was one of my comfort films. My top 2 films are very, personal movies, as always. But Studio Ghibli's Totoro. I talked about it already, but
yes.
Again, like aside from all the shit I said about how much it means to me, I think I would show any kid this movie in any context because I mean, similar to what you were saying about learning about the world, I feel like with Grave of the Fireflies, I feel like Totoro teaches kids about like self-agency and like kind of being independent because like a big theme of the movie is like learning how to cope without your parents around and that like kind of mirroring the fact of like how kids love to be adults and everything. And I remember truly being a kid and learning a lot of shit watching this movie. Like a lot of not like, pen to paper, like remembering certain lessons this movie gave me, but this is one of the first early movies that I remember just like thinking about other things other than this plot of the movie, and what else can I say? I mean, it's like their logo is Totoro. I feel like it kind of sums up Studio Ghibli's whole mission of making movies that appeal to kids, but also to adults. Like I truly love Miyazaki more as an adult than I did as a kid. At this point, I feel like even certain films like Porco Rosso or like Princess Mononoke with really adult themes and really kind of violent undertones to it are movies you can appreciate when you're older. But there's something about the simplicity of Totoro that I've always gravitated to, and how I truly find new things under the surface every time. And I think it's super hilarious and heartwarming. The music's incredible by Joe, my man Joe. And yeah, that's really it. I mean, I think I'm a huge animation fan, and like I've tried to kind of make a list of like what I think the quintessential animations of all time are. And obviously there's a lot of Japanese ones. And without trying to be like cool or obscure, I think Totoro is like the best kids film of all time, and still and above that, one of the greatest animations of all time. So that's why it's made the list. And the fucking cat bus, I'm just staring at it on the Blu-ray. There's certain things in this movie that just I don't think I'll ever get over being so beautiful and comforting to me. So yeah. What y'all think of Totoro?
It's fantastic. I haven't seen it in such a long time, to be honest with you. It's been like at least 5 years since I've seen it. So it was definitely a cozy film that I loved.
It's one of my blind spots for Ghibli, so never seen it.
Wow.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite of Carlos. I only just recently saw Totoro, maybe 2 months ago, a little less than 2 months ago. And I think you're right, Jake, because even as an adult, you can still feel emotionally moved from this film and just appreciate how incredible it is. I agree. I think it's one of the best in Ghibli's filmography.
Yeah, I think high marks, obviously. Like it's their body of work so incredible. But like of all the movies I picked, like I wanted to pick something that's like kind of just timeless, completely timeless outside of the 80s. That's kind of resonating with like nuke. When I saw the re-release for the Fathom event thing at AMC, like there were so many little kids seeing this movie for the first time, and I was like, oh hell yeah! Like parents of our generation are going to show their kids, and hopefully like that becomes their new, go-to comfort movie in this life. It's definitely still one of mine. So, and Blair, I highly recommend that you give this a watch as soon as possible if you're interested in it.
Of course, you're talking to the resident weeb, the Discord. Of course, I'm very interested in watching that.
Awesome. Well, that's my number 2. Carlos, I'm sure yours is going to be like way darker than Totoro, so I can't wait to hear it.
I mean, I guess this movie isn't like tonally. Well, I don't know. It does get pretty dark, but overall, totally, it's not that dark. It's actually more comedic than anything. But yeah, I'm really, really excited to talk about this film. I feel like I don't talk about this film a lot on my channel. But this is a film that is written and directed by Terry Gilliam, and it's Brazil. This to me is the best social satire I've ever seen put to film. It's really like a dystopian social satire, and it's like every single aspect of this movie is incredibly impressive, whether it be like just from a production and set design standpoint, and all of the creativity that was poured into building the world and all the prop work. But also just like in terms of the dialogue and in terms of all the situations that our main character, played by Jonathan Pryce, everything that he encounters, everything is basically a piece of commentary on society, or as a philosophical piece on society, or a philosophical piece on humanity. And it's either presented, and I mean, most of it is presented in a comedic way, and it really, really, really works. I mean, there's things about this film that like was way way ahead of its time. Like there's this whole like plastic surgery, type of element to it that, kind of predicted, in my opinion, like the rise of like the reliance on plastic surgery, especially from like the wealthy. But yeah, this film is just like, again, like in terms of world building, it just feels so vast. And this is a film that we were talking about Blowout earlier being a conspiracy film. This is also like a conspiracy film in a lot of ways. It's a lot, again, it's a social satire, so a lot of its commentary not only comes from human beings and how we interact in social situations and things like that, but a lot of it comes down to how the government basically dictates our lives and confines us in a way to where our free will is basically caged. And like there's this gigantic theme in the movie, like with our main character, how his desire is to essentially escape the confines of society so he can basically achieve his dream of having a partner for life, and just kind of living his life in a state of relaxation and pleasure that's away from the confines of society. But it's film in a lot of ways demonstrates how society not only confines you, but your family and society mixed in with your family expects you to do a lot of different things, and anything that you don't do, I mean, basically anything that you do outside of those expectations is demonized and discouraged. But most of this film, I'm telling you, is comedic as hell. Like, yeah, you can read into it the way that I am, but like at the end of the day, this film is also just a really cleverly written comedy that's directed beautifully. The camera work throughout this film is absolutely wonderful, and the way that the score is incorporated, honestly, it's iconic. Like the dun 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 dun, like that classic like melody that you hear, like the way that's incorporated into this film is just so brilliant. Yeah, I fucking love this movie to death. Robert De Niro is actually also in this film. We talked a lot about him tonight. He also makes an appearance in this film. I mean, he's not like that significant. I mean, actually, when it comes to the plot, he is a little bit significant, but like in terms of screen time, like he's not really in the movie much. But yeah, just this movie is just really great. It's also a good exploration of bureaucracy and how like everything that you want to do in life requires like 18 steps and requires a bunch of like verifications from higher ups. Like you got to fill out a form for literally every little thing that you need to do. I just love the way it explores that and how, especially like in the very beginning of this film, it explores how like the tiniest mistake, from somebody upstairs can basically completely ruin somebody's life. That's like just like trying to live their life. Like the simplest typo on a piece of paper costs somebody to go to jail. I just love how it explores how the more we move, the more that we move towards this regulatory direction where every little aspect of life is regulated, makes it to where like, our free will and our will to live a decent life becomes basically impossible. But anyway, I feel like I talked way too much. But I never get to talk about this movie, so it's
sure.
It's awesome that I finally had the chance to talk about it. I'm in love with this film. I think it's brilliant from start to finish. To me, it's a masterpiece. I love it.
Nice. I sadly haven't seen Brazil yet, so I can't add anything. Every Terry Gilliam film, I've seen a lot of his films before, just not Brazil yet. So I don't know why. But my roommate Brendan, that's like one of his favorite films of all time, and he's been really pushing for me to watch it. So I think it's time. After you put it in the top 5, like it's high on my watch list now for sure.
Yeah, please watch it.
I will.
Amazing. I don't know.
Brazil.
Yep, go ahead.
Brazil was the second Criterion I ever picked up, and I think it is Gilliam's one of his best films for sure. Yeah, De Niro has such an odd performance in that. He's basically like a secret agent plumber, is how I could best describe him.
Yeah, he's exactly what he is.
He's like he's the third Mario bro who comes to try
I was about to
say
he's like Mario and Luigi's cousin.
Yeah.
Robert De Niro could actually low-key play a great Mario.
Me.
And then Al Pacino could be Luigi for sure.
Holy fuck. That actually sounds based.
Coked out Luigi.
By the way,
she got a great Koopa.
She got a great peach.
There you go.
By the way, I don't know why I held up the normie Blu-ray. I
was gonna say, where's the
like? Damn, all right.
It's so blurry, I can't even see it, to be honest. But
oh, really? At that?
Yeah.
Oh,
is it blurry?
I think the focus is off ever since the camera shut off.
Oh, is my face out of focus?
Yeah, a little bit.
I meant to say, but you were on such a roll with Brazil. I don't want to interrupt, but
ever since we talked shit about your Criterion shelf, the camera's been focused on that since then.
Yeah.
Oh, is that why you pointed it out? You're like, what the fuck's going on with your shelf, bro?
Now there's a weird camera on your
shirt. You got some kind of square. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, it's gone.
Oh, it's gone now.
Some unfriended, yeah.
Am I more
That's some unfriended shit
now?
Yeah, you're good.
You're good. Hold up the Blu-ray now. Okay. Base.
Holds it up and just morphs into blue velvet.
Yep.
It's like, all right, we're good.
Damn, I just talked about Brazil and with nothing but blurry image.
I know. My bad. I should have told you.
It's all right.
We'll make do. We'll make
the world will fucking move on.
Okay.
But yeah.
Was there any other thoughts on Brazil from anyone?
Blaire hasn't seen. No, Blaire, you have seen it.
I love the Brazil. It's a very amazing masterpiece.
Oh, yes.
The Brazil.
The Brazil.
Oh, yes.
Fantastic.
The Brazil country. Right.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece country.
I've always wondered, like, if the movie has anything to do with the country. I literally don't know anything about like the movie whatsoever until you just
Yeah.
Besides what you said, I don't know if Brazil plays a part or not. I don't know if that's a spoiler.
I mean, I could tell you what I think it means. I mean, it's not really like, it's not spoiler with the plot or anything. Basically, like, to simply put, at least in my opinion, it's basically like the main character's like desired location, because in his mind, that's like a complete breakaway from society, basically.
Okay.
That's the way I interpret it.
But yeah, it's Terry Gilliam. You can interpret, I feel like, a lot of his intentions in different ways, but I can see that. I haven't not seen any of the movie, but okay. That's a very Carlos snub pick for the top two. Blair, what's your number two?
All right, so my number two is a movie that I haven't. You guys are gonna have to forgive me because I had not seen this movie in a very long time. And that movie is Milos Forman's Amadeus. I think it's like, to me, and I know you guys are probably gonna hella disagree with me, but I think it's at least very much up there in terms of like the best period pieces, like Barry Lyndon. Like, to me, there's two greatest period pieces, and that's Barry Lyndon and Amadeus. Both of them are incredible, but obviously I'm here to talk about Amadeus. So I love how fucking epic the movie feels. Like, it has a great sense of like scale to the movie. I can't really describe. It's just all the costuming and the setting. There's like a particular opera kind of scene that sticks out in my head that has insane production design, like probably some of the best production design I've ever seen in any movie. And I really love the main performance by F. John Murray. Am I pronouncing
F. Murray
his name right?
Abraham.
Murray
Yep.
Abraham. Sorry, it's late.
You're good.
My
Yeah,
brain's
you're fine.
rotting. Yeah, I think it's a great decision to have the perspective be from him and not Mozart. If you know the movie, you know that the movie is mostly about Abraham's character, Salieri, who has like this kind of envious view of Mozart and how he's just this fucking prodigy that is absolutely untouched. And Mozart is this like very childish man who just shits out masterpieces. Like he's a fucking he's this fucking like I don't know the word right now, but he's like this fucking crazy dude who just has like a party night hedonistic mentality throughout almost the whole course of the movie, and can just shit out these like amazing pieces and at like nothing. Meanwhile, Salieri is like working he's working so tirelessly to achieve the same level that Mozart does.
But he's not very good.
Yeah, it's not he's like, he will just never achieve that level no matter how much he puts forth into it. And yeah, like I said, it's been a very long time since I've seen it, but I definitely think that this movie is like easily one of the best movies of the 80s. I'm really happy that it won Best Picture, and I bet it was fucking mind-blowing to see it like the time it was released, because definitely I think it's one of the best of the 80s.
I would agree.
It's a great pick, dude. I love
It's
that movie.
Beautiful
so much.
film, yeah.
I didn't know that you'd seen it, Carlos. You probably reviewed it and I just forgot because it's been so long. But yeah,
I did review it. It's amazing. I think I gave it a 9. I don't think I gave it a 10. Did I? I don't remember. But yeah, it's let's just say it's masterful film. It's amazing.
Awesome. I'm happy to hear that.
I think what makes it so unique, I think above from the period piece aspect and how gorgeous the production is what you said about being the perspective of Salieri. Is like we talked about biopics more than I thought we would this episode, but like,
yeah, you're right.
From the perspective of this kind of like shriveling, just like kind of envious asshole, the whole movie. And like, sometimes you do get in his headspace and you're like, wow, Mozart's just like a clownish kind of like, he doesn't understand the power he wields. So you kind of sympathize with him to a point. Obviously till the end when it gets like really crazy, but it's such an interesting perspective because like I can't think of any other movies that have been made since then of like that are about like someone so ultra famous and in the zeitgeist of like, you know, every, you know, inspired music pretty much to a T. And then it's about like his competitor. It's like such an interesting perspective. I adore that movie. I haven't seen it in years either. I need to rewatch it.
Me too. It's way due for a rewatch.
I love the dynamic between Salieri and Mozart, because it's like it's one of those things to where you kind of have a choice in life. You could either admire somebody who is that much of a prodigy, or you can become insanely envious and hate them.
And obsessed. He's just obsessed the whole movie.
Yeah.
The movie is like mostly about his obsession to be as great as Mozart and like surpass him.
For sure.
Yeah. Make a legacy for himself rather than Mozart.
Totally.
It's also a great like demonstration on how some people are born just naturally talented in that way, and some people you could have all the education you want and learn every in and out, but sometimes you're just not as good as the fucking person that for some reason can, like Blair said, to shit out masterpieces. So,
yeah.
And it's a shitty aspect of life, but it just is what it is.
Mm-hmm. There's one little detail about there's one detail about the movie that I really enjoy. Like even in the movie, there are like scenes where I think it's Mozart where he's like performing these like plays that are made for like uncultured people. Like I guess like for normies, for lack of a better word. And I don't know. I just like how that's even expressed in the movie, that there are like higher, more layered art, and then there's like art for the masses, I guess.
There's so many aspects of that movie. Yeah. There's so many aspects like that that are so damn timeless. Like I remember there's a scene where I think when Mozart's dying and Salieri is like helping him with his final piece, and he's like trying to I think he's trying to help it like replicate Mozart's music, and they go through this frustrating process where he's like, I can't do it. I literally can't. And it's like so frustrated on his, and even when he's like dying, he can't live up to this man's like artistry.
Yeah.
Which is such a timeless thing. You know, I feel like you could compare that to like modern artists and filmmakers, musicians, whatever. Yeah, definitely deserved Best Picture for sure when that came out. I remember that won like a fuck ton of Oscars, I think, when it came out. So that's I didn't expect you to pick that, to be honest. So I'm happy.
I'll be honest. If you guys didn't snatch up Paris, Texas, or Come and See, I'd probably go with one of those two. But Amadeus is like a good, one to replace them with, to me.
Agreed, man. I definitely agree. All right, folks, we're at our number one films.
Spicy time. I
don't know how that started as a thing. But Bill Griff, our wonderful guest of honor today. What's your number one of the 1980s decade?
I'd like to say just before I reveal my number one that out of all these films in this whole list, all these lists, I've not seen Amadeus yet, and I will get onto it shortly someday.
Yes.
Because I've heard it's fantastic, and I know my dad loved that movie quite a lot. So
another great dad movie. Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of dads, this is my number one film, a dad vibe, I would say. This is Cinema Paradiso from Giuseppe Torrentore. It's, what can I say? It's a love letter to cinema. It really is. It is about Toto, a little boy who goes to the cinema as often as he can and forms a relationship with the projectionist, Alfredo, a father figure to him that eventually forces him out of the town to pursue his dreams of being a filmmaker. And he does. We see Toto's life through three stages in this film, through his childhood, his young adulthood, pursuing love and heartbreak, and finally as a sort of old man, a successful filmmaker, reflecting on his past and reflecting on his relationship with Alfredo and how he introduced him to the art form of film. And when I first saw Cinema Paradiso, I instantly fell in love with it. There are so many moments in this film that make me feel emotional, but aren't necessarily sad. There's just so much joy that's explored through this film that I can't help but love and adore. Especially Alfredo, the character, who, in my opinion, is just one of the most kind-hearted and heartwarming father figures I've seen in film history. And when you watch something like Cinema Paradiso, it just makes you feel happy to be alive. It makes you feel good to go to the theater. It makes you want to be like Toto and want to pursue something like this. I don't know. It just really taps something in my soul that I think all of us here can understand with our love for filmmaking. And Cinema Paradiso is just that. It is about the love for movies. So yeah, what better number one for me than picking this one?
Great pick, dude.
Yeah,
It's
awesome
like-
pick.
One thing I really loved about the film too is that it's one of the, I mean, I don't know if I've seen a film before this film do it, but it's a great demonstration of a human being kind of having to choose like love for a woman or love for cinema. It's like a great divide in one's life to where choosing your love for filmmaking, especially at the time of his life, would make it to where he would have to kind of sacrifice the love that he had for somebody that was truly special to him and a life with them in general. And that's a theme that I see like in more like modern type films now, especially with Chazelle's films as well. Like La La Land is also another great example of that too, where you kind of have to choose one or the other. Could kind of like you can't really have one without the other kind of thing. But yeah, that's the thing I loved about it.
I sadly haven't seen it since I was younger, but hearing you describe it and how kind of life affirming it is, and it sounds like it'll make me tear up. So I'll similar to Brazil, it's high on my list of priorities now. It's been a minute, but I remember it was beautiful film.
It is a film about, like Bill said, it's a film that's about the love for filmmaking, but in general, it is just a film about love, period. Yeah, it's a really great film. I think it's a great pick, Bill.
Yeah, a great look at compassion. You know,
Yep.
just feeling like you can do something with your life.
Yeah, and also looking back at like your regrets and yeah, it's a very humanistic film, a really down to earth humanistic film about, like you say, compassion and love that I really enjoyed.
Wow.
It's been quite a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, me too.
Truth be told, I don't remember a whole hell of a lot about it. I do remember really enjoying it. The only thing that kept me from like really loving it was the length of the movie. But I mean, it was gratifying seeing the main characters like kind of whole journey from being a kid. And if I'm not mistaken, there was also like a teenager kind of part of the movie.
Yeah, that's the one part of the film that I wasn't huge on, to be honest with you. Like the whole like teenager romance thing. I mean, I get why it's there, especially like with what the film progresses into with the ending and the finale. But something about the teenage romance element just it didn't really resonate with me nearly as much as everything else did.
Yeah, but I did enjoy the adult parts a lot. The scenes I remember most are like him revisiting where the town where he grew up and like kind of seeing what became of like certain places that he loved as a child, and kind of how he has this like sense of nostalgia going through him. Yeah, that's a great scene.
Yep.
Totally. Yeah, great number one. It's a great number one. Something as heartwarming and as beautiful as that definitely deserves to be on the list. By the way, if your film is number one on your top five, I should have mentioned it automatically makes the top 10 of the 80s. So Paradiso is on the list. So I'm happy about that. My number one is, if anyone knows me, I don't ever shut the fuck up about this film, and I still won't. I'll always advocate for this movie. It's my favorite film of all time, next to All That Jazz and Punch Drunk Love. It's if you know me, you know I love it. It's Tampopo by Yuzo Itami.
I also love it.
It's great.
I feel like, again, similar to Totoro and other, movies we mentioned, like everyone I know that I've recommended this movie to or have seen it, like you guys also adore this movie, and it kind of just hits it's hard not to be very subjective about it, because this movie just hits all the marks on why I love movies, where it kind of blends just so many different tones that really speak to me personally, where it's about it's an underdog story, which is something I'm a huge sucker for. Essentially just about this ramen shop and this woman trying to better herself and her life through the art of food, which food is a huge I never really talk about on this podcast, but I've food has been a huge part of like my interests in life, and like exploring different cultures of food and stuff like that. And I feel like Tampopo, part of the reason why I love that movie is because like through those vignettes that are in between sort of the plot of the film, like people often compare it to like, sketches you'd see in SNL or something like that, really quick vignettes, all explored kind of like the pleasures of food and like our relationship with food. And in such a hilarious manner, and oftentimes like intimate and sexual. Like I always think of the spaghetti scene with all the businessmen, and like that's so funny and clever. And like the sex scene, obviously, with everyone remembers the oyster scene. It's such a memorable shot. And yeah, like Bill was saying with Cinema Paradiso, like it's a movie that makes me kind of like excited to live, and kind of gives me hope to move on in life, because it's just an inspiring movie, like tonally and like narratively, like this whole journey of these characters. And that's what I love about Yuzo Itami, is that his outlook on life has always been just so overwhelmingly positive in the face of like adversity. Like he's made a movie about a hotel dealing with gangsters and how to like stand up for yourself, and a supermarket trying to compete with a large corporation. He just makes movies about the human experience and the everyday person, but in a kind of like in the lens of a very zany and heightened and almost cartoony reality, which for me, again, like it just speaks to all of my kind of love of different genres of comedy, Western, action, drama. Like this movie truly, I think, has everything. And I think not only the best film of the 80s in my eyes, but the personal Jake list in the top 5 for my favorite films of all time. So yeah, got to cut myself off because I could talk. I've talked about Tampopo a lot on this pod too, so I gotta stop. But all I gotta say is get some ramen and eat and watch this movie. I can't think of a better time. I'm getting hungry just talking about it, to be honest with you. So yeah,
I also love that movie. It's great, dude. I haven't seen it in like, I feel like almost 3 years now. But
same here.
Yeah. I watch it so often. I feel like it's like one of those every 3-month movies at this point. But
I need to watch it again soon. I remember really, really liking it a lot. Very wholesome, and rewarding movie.
Yeah. Have you guys seen anything else from the Yuzo Itami, the director?
The Funeral,
Yeah, we talked about the
Yeah,
funeral.
yeah. The Funeral. Yeah, yeah.
pretty good movie too.
Yeah, I
He's a
really enjoyed that movie.
really underrated body of work. I know it's like really hard to find in a lot of his films. If you have a Criterion subscription, I think they're for the most part are all on there. But I'm really hoping they do like a box set or something like to celebrate, because every film I've seen outside of this movie I've pretty much loved from him, and I think he's such a treasure for Japanese filmmaking. So yeah,
Nice.
that's the number one that is making the list, which I'm very happy about. Yeah, Carlos, you want to do your number one now?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move to something that's really wholesome and good vibes to something that is the exact opposite, and that is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining.
I knew it.
Yeah. I think every decade so far I've chosen a Kubrick film as my number one.
I think so.
Can't help it. I think the 90s is gonna be different. We'll see. But yeah. The Shining is, to me, my favorite horror film of all time. It is in terms of atmosphere and its psychological element. To me, it is. There's no better way you could have presented a movie to achieve these things. It is, from start to finish, such an absorbing and immersive and unsettling experience, driven by one of the greatest horror performances we've ever had from Jack Nicholson, and even Shelley Duvall. I think that she's
fantastic.
She is so good in this movie, especially when it comes to the more like terror-inducing moments. I mean, really, really incredible shit. Yeah. I just love the way that Kubrick presents this film. I mean, like, to me, what really makes this film work so well is the direction of the camera, which I believe Stanley Kubrick had a huge part in. I don't think he was the cinematographer, but his eye for the camera in terms of the way he wants it to move and flow throughout the film, I think is it's a huge reason as to why this film works really, really well. There's this very like smooth, flowing, haunting element to the way the camera moves throughout this film. And one thing about this film that I feel like people don't talk about enough, that is a gigantic element as to why it's so unsettling and immersive and, to me, timeless, is the score. The score, like, I watched this in the theater, and the score, like, you really get to understand why this film is so immersive when you watch it in a theater with giant speakers, because like, there's not like a single moment in this film where you feel like you could rest, and a lot of that is because of the score. It is very like experimental, very like erratic, very reliant on just noise. And it's, I don't know, it's, to me, it's one of my favorite horror scores ever. And again, a huge reason as to why it is so unsettling and is so effective on an atmospheric level, and even on a psychological level. And yeah, just this film, again, the presentation of this film is, to me, like, the biggest reason why it works so well. There's so many sequences in this film that are so engaging and so haunting and so unsettling because of the way that Kubrick presents it. Like, to me, the whole the old lady scene and the happens in the room, the way that's like edited together is like, I'm sorry, but to me that is like so fucking horrifying. I can see like maybe some people's, oh, it's cheesy. To me, no. And a lot of the reason why it works so well for me is because of the way that it's edited together and the way that's presented. Just the way like how that scene flows with the audio, with the images, is just super unsettling shit. I love it to death. But yeah, again, this movie, I really could talk about it like all fucking day. There's pretty much everything about this movie I absolutely love. I mean, and it's iconic as hell, like the two little girls in the hallway, The fucking waterfall of blood coming down from the elevator. It's just, to me, this is just like a perfect example of iconic horror that just works on every single level. I hope to one day in my future filmmaking career to make a horror film that even comes remotely close to representing elements as to why The Shining is so great, like on an atmospheric and a psychological level. I hope to one day make a film that kind of encapsulates something like The Shining. But yeah, that's all I'll say about it. I love The Shining to death. Stanley Kubrick's my favorite filmmaker of all time, and The Shining is a perfect example why.
Yeah, I'll say, Carlos, I've seen your horror stuff. I feel like you have pulled from The Shining, at least like tonally, and like that dreadful kind of tonality in The Shining. I could tell you adore The Shining. It's pretty clear. So you're on your way for sure.
Thank you, dude. Thank you so much.
Got you. I feel like The Shining might be the most influential horror film of all time if you really break it down. Like if every modern horror movie that we love, or even post The Shining, like in the 90s or 2000s or whatever, I feel like everything's borrowing from just like what Stanley Kubrick captured with that movie. And not even just like the claustrophobia of that location and the way he shoots and edits it together. Like it all works so harmoniously. Like I always describe The Shining as like Kubrick literally played in like a sandbox of just like all of his quirks and like all of his, inklings as a filmmaker, and just do whatever the hell he wants. Because he takes the adaptation of like a beloved book, but he kind of just like completely shifts it to like a Kubrickian, complete, exercise in filmmaking and acting. And like, to me, it's like the film, it's not my personal favorite Kubrick. It has been at times, but it's like him firing in all cylinders as a filmmaker, and probably reaching, I feel like, maybe his most popular film in terms like commercially and successfully, and the one that's reached the most audience members, I think, is The Shining. Maybe 2001 though as well.
The thing is, like with The Shining, like even like your most casual of moviegoers knows The Shining.
Yeah,
and they've seen it, and most like more than likely they like it. 2001 is like something that casual moviegoers maybe have heard about, but they haven't seen. But most people have seen The Shining.
And some people watch 2001 and like check out of it really quick if they're like, not to put any normies on blast out there, but
it is what it is. I mean,
it's 2001.
It demands patience from the viewer,
For sure. And Jack Nicholson, like one of my favorite actors of all time. Like I think undeniably that's my favorite performance he ever gave. Like there's something like next level about that performance. Like it feels like no actor has ever replicated like what he did with that movie. Fucking crazy. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah. Certified banger.
I don't have anything to add. Every scene in The Shining is literally iconic. Even the fucking like opening scene, like going up the fucking mountains to the Overlook Hotel. That scene is fucking great too. It's just the opening. Yeah.
The opening is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Carlos, did you like Ready Player One when they recreate The Shining?
Oh my God. Is that real, man? Don't tell me.
Yeah. They play like
it?
Mario Kart like in the fucking hotel or whatever.
What?
Yeah, dude. Dude, it's like the death of. I'm sorry if anyone out there likes that movie, but that's like one of my least favorite films
what the
ever
fuck?
made.
That sounds like a nightmare. That sounds scarier than The Shining. I don't want to watch that.
Kubrick himself would strangle the shit out of Spielberg if he saw what he did to him.
My God, he'd fucking turn in his grave, dude. Fuck that.
And the fact that Spielberg like finished his final film too,
Yeah.
is funny. And then just shat on his grave after that. It's like,
oh my God, playing Mario Kart in the hotel.
Yeah, I think they're having like a race. I don't know.
They have a race and they go through. Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
What the fuck is going on? That is.
I can send you this scene after where it's like the worst thing I've ever seen.
Great, I'm gonna have nightmares tonight. Thank you.
Oh.
Hell yeah. Love that movie. Obviously.
By the way, quick note. Dr. Sleep, I'm not a fan of. Just to throw that.
No, fuck that movie.
I do not like. I tried. I really fucking tried. That movie's fucking bad. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just bad. I don't even know. It's not okay. It's not fine. It's
just a bad movie. Like
it's not even bad compared to The Shining. It's literally bad in its own merits.
Yep.
In my opinion.
Yep. Okay. I know there's fans out there of it. I mean,
I'm a fan of it.
Oh really?
I'm sorry. But still.
I'm a big Stephen King fan. I like the book and I think it's well adapted. I don't compare it directly to The Shining like other people do, because like that's a losing battle right there. But I can see, I know what you guys are saying. It's not the best adaptation out there, but
I mean, but I guess I can see it from your perspective. Like if you're someone that read the book and you just like the way it was realized, then
yeah,
I can't really argue with that.
Yeah. But if you grew up watching The Shining and you watch that movie, it's kind of like maybe Ready Player One made it better too after seeing that shit. I'm like, oh, anything about In the Overlook Hotel is better than that. So, yeah. Aside from that, Blair, what's your number one?
So my number one is, like everybody here, a movie that I am very, very passionate about and I feel like I could talk about for a long time. And when we were doing the 80s list, like when we talked about doing the 80s list, this is the movie that's like, oh yeah, this is easily my number one. And that's Koyaanisqatsi.
Oh hell yeah.
Watching this movie for the first time, it legitimately blew my fucking mind. And I feel like there's probably some people who just like rolls their eyes at this movie from the get-go because it's technically a documentary, but not really. Like it really feels like very misleading to label this movie as a documentary, because even though there's no characters, there's no plot structure, it's still one of the most cinematic movies to me. And like fucking Philip Glass's score is, to be completely honest, it might be my favorite movie score, full stop. And obviously I love what the movie sets up. Like the movie is about kind of humanity and the toll they've taken through our industrial kind of society and our technology, kind of like taking a toll on Earth and kind of the negative impacts that we've had. And the movie kind of starts off with like these beautiful, mesmerizing shots of nature, and like it really lulls you into that kind of comfort with Philip Glass's amazing score. And slowly, or not even slowly, I should say, like it just starts building one scene after another of like showing the fucking monstrosity of fucking capitalism we've created in a way. Like this movie, I don't know if anybody in the world relates to me, but this movie made me feel so disgusted, like genuinely really disgusted at like my stomach, and have this real sense of existential dread. Yeah, and there's the one scene that everybody knows about. The grid scene. I think that's easily one of my fucking favorite scenes of any film ever. That when that scene happened, like it goes on for so long, and it's insane. It's fucking mesmerizing. It conveys so much with no dialogue, with nothing, just observing it with almost like a, I don't even know. You're just viewing it from like such a detached way. And it's, I can't even sell it. Like, you just have to watch it for yourself. It's insane. But yeah, I'm very curious to hear how you guys feel about it. Cause this is like in my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I think it's fucking brilliant on every level. Yeah.
How do I feel about it, dude? Oh, look at
DVD.
that. Oh, yeah, the
nice.
DVD.
It's a shitty ass. I want to buy the box set, but I've heard really bad things about the sequels. But I still want to do it for Koyaanisqatsi alone. I totally agree. This is a work of genius. I feel like really pushes the boundaries of what you're about, like what cinema could offer, like in general, and like tell a complete like quote unquote story, and say something so profound without any characters, dialogue, just all through footage and music. It's just stunning. I agree.
Yeah. To me, it really is like a cinematic achievement, and I don't know if I'm missing another movie, but it also has like the grid section is like one of the best time lapses of anything I've ever seen in my life. It's incredible. Yeah. It's used to such great effect. It's so purposeful, and just like, God, even that shot of like that casino shot with the Vegas workers like staring into the camera, like it's I don't yeah, it's just like so ironic and like so detached. I love it so much.
Totally. I agree with you too. It makes me sick watching it in a way. Just like how thought provoking it is, but reflecting on over what it's saying,
Yeah, and a lot of it's told because of the fucking film editing, dude. Like there's parts, like there's so many elements of the film that have a great sense of like graphic match where like I forgot exactly what it is, but I think it was something like you see like human beings being like packed into an escalator, and then like the next scene after that is like you see like hot dogs being packed into like a assembly line.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Like we get like scenes like that where things are just like matched together through the editing, that it's just, to me, it's just so compelling and profound to see things being sequenced in the way that it is. And that's the reason why the movie is a must-see masterpiece.
Must-see masterpiece.
Wow, that gave me chills.
To me, the even craziest part about it is this movie was made in the early 80s. Like, and like the moments we saw, like in New York City specifically, with those time lapses, that was just like one single afternoon, and you see all that fucking chaotic shit. Like imagine how much time has fucking passed since then, and like how much bigger the population has increased. Like that fact alone is like really scary, and I don't know, super existential shit. It's
absolutely.
It's a very thought-provoking movie to me. Like I said, I know some people will be like, "Oh, what is this shit?" It's just a movie about shots of people walking in nature, whatever. But no,
those normies probably like Dr. Sleep, right? Fucking idiots.
No.
But really, do you guys have you seen the sequels to, or are they even sequels directly? I know it's the same director. In the
they're like a thematic sequels in a sense, but
yeah,
I heard they're like really cheesy and bad.
The third one, I like read the reviews and people are like completely shitting on it so hard. I was like, wow, like based off Koyaanisqatsi, I felt like I can't imagine it not being great, but I guess it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I wonder why Criterion decided to put a box set for them. I guess like the only thing I can think of is like the director was like basically like, well, if you want my movie, you got to sell my other two movies.
That's what I was thinking. That's what
no, totally, yeah.
He's like forcing people to fucking eat it.
Like, and they're just like, yeah.
I know nobody likes it, but I work too hard in these movies to just not sell. So I'm gonna put it
probably, yeah. I guess Francis Ford Coppola had something to do with this, huh? Because like on my DVD it says Francis Ford Coppola presents.
Oh really?
So,
does he play? Maybe? Does he play Koyaanisqatsi?
He plays Katsi.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of the sequels, but I have seen Baraka, which is directed by the cinematographer of Koyaanisqatsi, I think.
Baraka is great. Yeah.
Baraka's awesome. Yeah. That's one I'd recommend. That's not any of the sequels to Koyaanisqatsi.
Yeah.
It was produced by Coppola.
King. What a fucking king.
What a Chad.
Chad.
I'll just throw on that fucking Philip Glass score. Philip Glass is one of my favorite movie composers. He's great. I love his scores.
One of the best, yeah.
Yeah, his score for The Thin Blue Line is really great too.
I didn't know he scored Mishima. That's pretty cool.
He did Mishima? Oh wow. That's a great score. Yeah.
The score for that movie is fucking great. And that movie is really great. That's my favorite Paul Schrader like movie. And my opinion. Like in terms of directing, it's my favorite.
Totally. Damn, that might have to be a honorable mention on our list. No one brought that up for 80s.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Oh yeah, it is from the 80s.
I really wanted to put it on my list, but I couldn't. But it's so fucking good.
That one and Ran from Kurosawa.
Kurosawa's Ran. Yeah, that's on my honorable mention list too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. Well, that's our top 20 right there, folks. We're gonna take a quick break because I have to pee really badly, and then we're gonna come back and do our top 10. We're gonna do the good old debating to see what makes our top 10. So we'll be back. I'll be back in a second. All right. Welcome back, conheads, to the Cinebums and Misfit Pond. I hope you're caught up with Succession. Otherwise, you will not understand that one.
I am indeed not caught up with Succession.
Sorry.
We were interested in films from a very young age.
I started watching Succession today, and I was like, "Oh fuck, my power went out." So then I tried Blade Runner, and I'm like, "My fucking power went out," and I gave up after that. Not watching anything today.
That's sad. I guess your power hates really existential shit.
Hates Kino.
Hates Kino. Yeah.
Yeah. No more movies.
All right. Let's do the thing.
Oh, sorry. Stop.
No, you're good. So we're gonna make the top 10. We're gonna go through each movie again, and how about we just we'll go through each person's list again. I'll name them off, and if anyone wants to, just say yes or no. Everyone says yes or no. I feel like we'll get a good democratic sort of deliberation on everything, and then after that we can do the if anyone has honorable mentions if we're running out of movies. Mm-hmm. We already met. What did we mention before? Mishima.
Yeah.
It could definitely show up somewhere, and then we'll rank them. We'll rank them when our brains are truly rotted out of our skulls. We'll rank these movies.
Yeah, just so everybody knows, for clarity, right now where Blair and I live, it's 4:24 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's extend this out as long as possible. Let's take our time and make this the best list we've ever done. All right, Bill Griff's list. Welcome to watchmojo.com. Possession. Yay or nay?
No.
Yay.
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 I lose.
Well, that's
that doesn't for sure make the list, but it gets a little.
It gets a star.
Literally, yeah.
A golden star.
It's a little gold star.
We need 10 stars.
Isabella Johnny gets to see God. One more round.
Do the right thing.
I mean,
yes.
I feel like that should just be added to the top 10. Honestly.
Slow your roll, brother.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. No, I agree with you.
Nobody gets an automatic one unless it's number one.
I feel like we got to go by each movie though, because then we're gonna get if we put too many on, I'm gonna start because I think it's gonna make it. But Grave of the Fireflies.
Ooh,
nay.
I would say no because
I'm gonna say a nay.
On your own list, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say yay to give it some love.
All right. Okay. All right.
It's fantastic.
Here comes the big boy.
Oh no, Red Velvet, huh?
Red Velvet. Nothing but cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll say nay.
Yay! Absolutely yay!
Yay!
Definitely nay.
That was
Definitely
my original top 2. I
was gonna say. I thought Blair, you were gonna bring it up. So I thought if you had, it would for sure make the list. But okay. It might. Carlos, you're in top 5. Shining's for sure gonna make the list. Oh, I should say, Bill, Cinema Parody still makes the list automatically. Santa Sangre. I haven't seen it, so
Yay.
That's just like
I love it, but nah, it's not gonna make
Yeah,
it.
I'm sorry, Carlos. I'm gonna have to say nay.
Everybody's
on that.
against me.
I love it.
more like the misfit poop.
Got him.
Got him.
And
Paging Bull.
Yes, come
yes.
Yay,
Big,
yeah.
big yes.
Yay.
on.
Yay.
Thank
yes.
God.
Imagine we're like, actually, everything we said before was a farce.
Man, fuck Raging
Fuck.
Bull.
I don't like sports. Stupid.
Hey, fuck you, buddy.
Sports.
Why the fuck they make it black and white? It's 80s movie. Come on.
Yeah, fucking
Come on.
pretentious assholes.
Lazy
Yeah.
Scorsese. That's
Lazy.
what I like to say.
That's
Or says
great.
he like this blood look green as hell. We're making the film black and white.
What if the blood that like when the blood like splatters on the crowd? What if he just colored it like pink or something?
Yeah,
It's just, ooh.
it was just black.
Yeah.
Tetsuo the Iron Man.
Yes.
Yay. I haven't seen it.
I'm
I want
gonna
to
have
help.
to say nay.
I'm gonna say nay. As much as I want to, Carlos. Like,
Y'all did Eraserhead wrong, and now y'all doing Tetsuo wrong.
Eraserhead. I said it. I don't know.
Well, no, I know you like it, but it didn't make the fucking top 10.
Yeah. Sorry. Brazil, I haven't seen, so
Brazil needs to be on there.
I like I like Brazil, but gosh, compared to like everything else in everyone else's lists,
compared to my.
That's
Brazil-
kind of how
Brazil-
I feel too.
Brazil deserves to be on there more than Blue Velvet.
it's an honorable mention.
Ooh,
Well, we're
shots
getting a little-
fired.
I don't agree.
oh my
a little-
God.
Little
Brazil-
political here.
Brazil takes so much more craftsmanship than fucking Blue Velvet. I'm sorry.
Well,
Out of their filmographies, like, is Brazil the magnum opus of Terry Gilliam?
Yeah.
no,
Probably, yeah.
What else is the magnum opus of Terry Gilliam, Bill?
Don Quixote.
because he made
Don
Monty
Quixote.
Python and the Holy Grail, and he made the Fisher King.
No,
He did.
and-
He didn't direct Holy Grail.
He did, yeah.
Yeah,
He
he
did?
did.
He co-directed it.
That's
Yeah,
I thought that was.
Co-directed.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's co-directed.
I love.
I think.
He actually co-directed with Koyani Scotzi.
I love the fact that's like the name of somebody. Yeah,
I don't know. Can you at least put an asterisk?
I'm putting.
on that?
Yeah, no, I
Okay.
have no dog in this fight. I haven't seen it, so. But I was gonna say, like, Blue Velvet, people consider that like Lynch's magnum opus. Some people do. So
Well, I remember in the Discord, it was the top 2 films of the 8. Like literally, Brazil won every single bracket all the way up to the finale. It was Brazil against Come and See. So I feel like.
Oh
I don't know.
yeah, me and Carlos had a fucking debate on that on VC in
Yeah.
2021. I very distinctly remember that.
Yeah, it was a good one. It was a good.
That was
heated debate.
that was a good one. Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a little gold star, of course. I mean,
Yes.
I feel like we fucked with your little your other avant-garde movies a little bit. So
Remember the bracket match Blue Velvet versus The Celebration? That was another crazy one.
that's heated. Wow.
That pissed me off.
Yeah, I remember that.
Alrighty. We'll go to my list now. Paris, Texas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bill.
He's like, no.
Fuck
No.
that movie, dude. Fuck that piece of dog shit, boring as hell abuser
Boring.
core movie.
Oh my god.
Yo, like in the end, in that phone call scene, I was like, what a whiny. bitch.
Yo, why the fuck is it Breakfast Club in this list, guys? What the fuck?
I had.
Dude,
we're gonna get to honorable mentions.
I almost did
Oh, yeah.
Breakfast Club in my top 5. Yeah.
There's like a million movies we didn't say.
Man, where's Howard the Duck?
Where the
Do they actually have breakfast in the movie, or is
No.
wow scam?
Piece of shit.
Fucking
John
fake
Hughes.
ass movie.
fucking fake ass director John Hughes? So yeah, Paris, Texas gets a star. The Thing, Jake
Yes.
Carp.
Yeah, I think we need to have that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Wow. Come and See.
Oh, show.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah.
You weren't drunk enough, I guess, when you saw it, Bill.
There wasn't enough seeing. that happened. Like,
But there's a lot of coming.
A lot of coming, though. Plenty of that.
Remember the quote in Superbad? He's like, "It's not the going with the ladies I care about.
It's the coming.
It's the coming." That should have been in the trailer for Come and See.
I get it.
Totoro.
Nah.
Haven't seen it.
Because if we're not going to put Grave of the Fireflies, we can't put Totoro.
Yeah, I'm gonna do nay on Totoro.
And if there is a Ghibli film, it should be Grave of the Fireflies, not Totoro. In my opinion.
I take issue with that, but that's okay. Yeah, that's all right. That was a very personal pick anyway. Okay, Corey, and then Tempo makes it automatically. We're gonna have to cut some shit out because we're definitely getting 10 really easily here. King of Comedy for Blair.
Nay.
I would say nay.
Personally, I would say yay, but if we already have Raging Bull up there, it's like I can't.
Yeah.
That's fine.
One Marvel man per list.
Like a Vagabond.
Ooh,
I'll say yay, but I don't expect that to get in.
I'm gonna say
nay.
I'm gonna say yay.
Based.
All right. I'll say yay too.
Damn. More than Brazil? What the fuck's going on?
I haven't seen Brazil.
Yo, Varda beats Brazil, dude. I'm sorry.
Your Varda takes a steaming shit. On
Girls rule and boys drool. That's what I gotta say.
Terry Gilliam could not direct Vagabond, but Varda could direct the shit out of Brazil.
Oh my god, fuck you.
Dude, Greta Gerwig could direct 12 Monkeys better than that shit.
Oh shit.
Greta Gerwig, Brazil, when?
Oh
god.
Blowout, big yay for me.
I'll say yay, yeah.
I'm gonna say nay.
Damn. Democracy loses again.
But Scarface.
No, I still start. We all said 3. We all said yay.
Which one?
You said for Blowout, right, Carlos? You said yay?
No, I said nay.
Oh shit. Okay, never mind. But that got as many votes as Brazil, so I'm still gonna give it a star.
Nice.
Look at
I got you, Blair. Amadeus. I haven't seen it in so long. It's hard. I know it's a masterpiece, though. Like
I say yay.
Obviously, I say yay.
I know. We're starring like every movie besides.
I
Carlos.
can't say anything. I haven't seen it, so I'm out of this fight.
All right.
Well, if we star Amadeus, how many films we got starred right now?
Let me count a lot. 4, 5, 6, 7, 15.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
Okay, we gotta
Amadeus, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Okay, sorry, dude. We gotta cut Brazil and Amadeus because we only Blowout.
Whoa.
Sorry, Blowout and Brazil.
Cut, Blowout, Brazil.
Wait, what? Don't cut out Brazil yet.
They
Get
only
out
got 2 votes though.
No,
Get
well,
rid-
I said
You know what?
yay.
Cut out Blue Velvet. Get rid of the bees.
What are you
Get rid of
talking
the
about?
bees.
Let's.
God damn it.
I know other ones has more votes, but let's discuss this. Let's see if I can sway people on other.
Who said yay for Brazil? Carlos? And who?
I haven't
was
seen it, so it's only 2 yays, right?
I didn't say yay, so
I didn't. Who said?
But why
yay?
not though? Like, what's
Because
stopping
we
you?
said nay.
well, it's not anything to do with Brazil. It's just that there's movies I prefer.
Okay.
That's it.
That seems
Okay,
like what's
let's-
happening. Yeah.
That's because Carlos, it's because Anya's Varda didn't direct Brazil. Okay.
No, Carlos, if you want to make a case for it, go ahead. Like
No, I'm just saying. What are the other films that have 2 stars?
What was Possession?
Okay, that's not going anywhere. I know that.
No. You said nay to that, right?
Yeah. But I'm not gonna
I don't
waste time.
remember I don't remember all the votes in my head right now. But
Okay, well, let's just name up all the films real quick. What all has a star?
Paradiso. I won't name the number ones. Never. Blue Velvet,
Okay.
which you kind of fell on your sword.
Yeah.
Bill, and said no, but I kind of wanted it to be on the list. But if you want to cut it out, then let's cut it out.
I was just pranking Carlos.
Oh,
We should have it on the list.
good
Yeah,
one.
I'm not gonna bother with the Blue Velvet.
No,
y'all can have
I feel
at
like
it.
Blue Velvet versus Brazil is a great argument, but
I mean, I just think Brazil's a fuck ton better. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, I mean, in both personally and objectively, I think it's a lot better. I mean, Brazil, objectively speaking, took a lot more vision, a lot more craftsmanship. There's every single fucking scene in Brazil, as I mentioned, is like layered with social commentary, and it's hilarious. I just think the vision for that film is just like otherworldly, and in comparison to Blue Velvet, again, it comes to that. Like when it comes to personal, I get that y'all don't have to like Brazil better than Blue Velvet, but like on a objective, like technical standpoint, and what it took to make a film like Brazil, I just think I don't know. I just admire that so much.
I think that Amadeus took like, if not more, like just as much craftsmanship than as Brazil. So
yeah, but I do agree with you on Amadeus though. I say yay to that. I say yay to Amadeus and yay to Brazil, but not Blue Velvet.
Okay, I can respect that.
Well, Bill, do you want to sacrifice your Velvet now? Was that convincing?
You know,
I do not want to.
I will only sacrifice Blue Velvet if Carlos sacrifices Brazil.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Let's come back to that. That's a very loaded.
I might do that.
Carlos, take an eye for an eye leaves everyone blind. You willing to be a blind man with me?
Yeah, I might actually.
You guys want to cut those out?
Yep.
For now, cut them out. For now, cut them out. Let's see what we got.
Yeah.
Do the right thing. I think that should just make it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I would put that. Yes.
Possession.
I say no, but
big yes for me.
I say yes.
I'm in the middle. Fuck.
I say no because I think there's other films that are more deserving.
If left to my own devices, it would be like my number 3.
Yeah.
It might be my top 5-10 as well.
But I knew Bill was going to take it, so I was like, I'll let Bill have this one.
Thanks, Blair.
We'll come back to it. Raging Bull.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, at least I got that one.
It's the only one.
Come and Pee.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We have to have that one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can we just put it on the top 10 already?
It is. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
1, 2,
Awesome.
3, 4, 5, 6. The other ones we said The Thing by John Carps. And if you want to say no, you can change it.
Oh man.
I think we have to have The Thing.
Yeah, that's a big
it's just
so
it's so fucking iconic. It's got to be on there.
Okay.
I think to have both The Shining and The Thing in the top 10 of the 80s is base because to me those are the two best horror films like in the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree. And Paris, Texas. I feel bad because then like 4 out of the 5 of mine are gonna make the list. But
well,
when we cut Paris,
you did
Texas,
bring your list first out of everyone. So what in the group chat? So I will say yes to Paris, Texas always.
Okay. You mean like I stole everyone's thunder?
Paris, Texas was in my list, but then I changed it last second and then put Amadeus.
Oh fuck! I didn't.
It's okay. Don't worry. It worked out.
Yeah, no, it's a great list nonetheless. Fuck, we only have one spot left right now. After Koyani Scotzi obviously makes the list.
So what it's who's
Amadeus, Blowout, and Vagabond.
Oh,
from Blair's list. But we're cutting out Blue Velvet in Brazil, right?
God.
Hypothetically, yes, we are right now.
Yeah, let's get rid of them.
If that's the case, then Blair's list is done. Or if we don't cut him out, I meant.
But if we put Amadeus,
then those are done. Yeah. Then those are gone.
To me, out of
Brazil.
Out of those 3 you said at the end, I would choose Amadeus, but I know Bill hasn't seen it, so
I would choose Blowout personally, but
out of those 3, I would choose Amadeus.
Yeah. Well, Bill, you've seen Blowout, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Who voted for it before? It was just
beautiful response.
Yeah. All right. Fuck it then, Amadeus. Let me read them out then real quick. The count them out. Cinema Paradiso is one. Do the Right Thing. The Shining, Raging Bull, Tampopo, Come and See the Thing, Paris, Texas, Koyani Scotzi, Amadeus. Yeah, that's 10.
Come and See the Thing.
Wow.
Come and See the Thing. I mean, did anyone have honorable mentions to throw out if you were to kick one off of here? I know, Bill, you said you had. I had Kurosawa's Ron, but I don't know. Nothing that's like I want to fight for right now.
Yeah, me neither.
That I want to fight for in the list? Nah.
Yeah, like
no, the list is pretty solid.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we
I mean,
it
sucks to not have Brazil, but I know it sucks for y'all
I'm
not to have
sorry.
Blue Velvet. So
I'm sorry. If maybe I should have watched it before this podcast, I could have saved it. But
I mean, as long as I get to drag y'all down with me, I'm fine.
Somebody's gonna be upset we didn't mention Blade Runner like at all. And I tried watching it, couldn't finish. Not because the movie's bad, because of the rain. Because of the rain.
I also think it sucks.
Blade Runner who? What? Never heard of that.
Because a lot of people love Blade Runner.
I love Blade Runner too. Like it's a great decade. I feel like if I go back and like look at more, there's other ones, but like I just dwindled it down to 5, you know.
Yeah, of course.
I definitely dig Blade Runner, but I do prefer Blade Runner 2049 a little bit more. Is that blasphemy?
Yeah.
No.
I don't care.
I don't know.
I don't really. What?
An American Werewolf in London. It's a pretty based film. We should have mentioned.
Well, I was gonna say
horror.
Evil Dead 2 as well, but
Oh,
that's a very personal like Jake movie. So
I almost put Nostalgia by Tarkovsky on my list.
whoa,
It was very close.
Ooh.
I had Solaris in my honorable mentions too.
No Tarkovsky.
Also,
Interesting.
Also, Once Upon a Time in America. If anyone has seen that.
That's a great film. It's a great movie.
Oh yeah, that was definitely one of my mentions. I didn't bring it up though because I know it wouldn't make it.
And also The Elephant Man. Shout out Rigby.
Yep.
I love The Elephant Man.
That was close to my top.
I would put that in the list. But instead of Blue Velvet, I like Elephant Man more.
Lunacy.
Well, you like anything
Lunacy.
more than Blue Velvet.
Not true.
So I'm surprised you didn't talk about Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, maybe.
It's all right. It's got some fighting in there, right? It's got some good action, but it's not top 10 material.
Fair,
compared to all these other films.
The Vanishing, it needs to be mentioned too. I love that movie. It's a great fucking movie.
Damn, dude. I would put The Vanishing probably over a handful of the movies in our list.
I'm not a huge fan of that movie, but
damn.
The Vanishing is fucking, to me, it's so good. Stanley Kubrick called
fucking great.
Stanley Kubrick called it the scariest film he's ever seen.
It is terrifying for sure. I'll give it that. Yeah, I don't really have any others. I love Videodrome. I know Cronenberg's a very it's a tough topic for sure.
I actually love The Fly.
I love The Fly too. Yeah,
that's one of my favorite Cronenbergs. It's so fucking great.
Yeah, there's a good amount, but we have to rank our top 10 now.
Okay,
which is how the hell do we do this? Yeah, I don't know where to start with this. I mean,
just start naming them.
Okay. Raging Bull.
That's got to be at least top 5.
8.
Yeah, I was gonna say more like I was honestly between 7 and like 9.
I would say number 5, probably.
I'll do 7. Seven's the highest I'll go.
Okay, let's go 7.
It was like gambling shit.
7's the best I could do.
That's the best my brain rot head can do right now at this hour.
I'll give you 6. I'll give you 6 if you give me. Brazil's out, so sorry, I had to be.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just to reiterate, we're not pro
Relish
Brazil.
in that reminder.
No, well, Blue Velvet's out too.
Yeah, Blue Velvet hurts. It's true.
Yeah, that hurt me too. I didn't expect you to sacrifice it like that.
I needed Brazil gone, and I knew what I needed to do.
I needed Blue Velvet gone too. So like, fuck it, I'll take that deal.
You guys just fell on the sword like
you
that.
guys just fucked yourselves.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. What about Come and Pee?
Oh, one.
Oh, yeah. It would be number 1 for me. Yeah.
3.
I would say 1 or 2.
I would say top 5 actually.
2. We'll do 2.
2.
We'll come back to that.
3.
We'll do the lower ones first. We'll do the lower ones first there.
This is so funny. I don't know why.
2, 1, 3.
4.
The Thing is probably lower down. Where should The Thing go? Like
number 9.
9.
Sure.
Piece of shit movie.
Yeah, it sucks. It's pretty boring.
Another one that might be low, Tampopo.
I fucking love Tampopo, but
I would put
10.
it over Raging Bull personally, but
No,
you just say 10.
Yeah,
I would
fucking
say
love
10.
it, but 10. Yeah.
10, yeah.
Well, you know what?
Score.
What do we don't have an 8 yet.
Yeah, what
Can we
about
put
8?
it
At
there?
least give me 8. That was my number 1 movie.
I'll go 8. Yeah.
I mean, to me personally, Tampopo is 10, but we'll do 8.
Well, okay. Brazil poo.
Good one. Owned.
Holy fuck.
Fucking
Got him.
Ligma.
Cinema Paradiso. It's hard for me to rank because I haven't seen it in like a decade, but
that to me is like
okay.
That's an 8.
That's like like should be number 8 on the list, not like an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you meant.
Okay.
Fine. You know what? We'll do that 8 if Tampopo will be a 6.
Ooh,
why are you?
I like that one.
Why are you doing this, Bill?
Fuel the fire.
It's just one above Raging Bull. Like I already have.
Yeah. Come on. Let's just.
That makes no sense.
Why make it 6?
It makes no fucking sense.
Just make it happen.
We're just fucking around now.
I love you, Bill.
What's fucking brain rotted right now?
We're so brain rotted. Holy fuck.
Well, Amadeus is like number 10, right?
Yeah.
That should be higher. That should be like
it shouldn't be higher, but
it's like the top 10 of the decade. Like there's no bad spots.
Just put it in 10.
No, dude. What? No.
I'm sorry, but it's better than Tampopo.
Yeah,
we're 10ing it up.
Oh, it is Amadeus. Doesn't have fucking ramen in it, so
damn.
You don't know
there wasn't a single
not a
egg.
single.
They didn't, if fucking Mozart and the crazy guy you guys keep talking about, if they passed an
Crazy
egg
guy.
yolk, that would make it top 5.
There's somebody eating ramen in the background of that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
it's there.
I saw it.
Yeah, it's there.
There's no Japanese culture in that movie.
Dude,
they're probably racist.
Somebody ate a bowl of rice. No, I'm sorry. clip that out.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry.
That's so good.
Well, we gotta actually.
Okay, look, Amadeus, in my opinion, should be like 8 or 6. Tampopo should be number 10.
Well, I know that's your opinion.
But Blair, do you agree?
That's not
low key. I do agree. I'm sorry.
See?
Well, me and Bill are fighting for Tampopo.
But Bill's just doing it to get to.
He knows it's.
I'm doing it to get to the truth of life here. You
think Tampopo is better than
you
Raging
would dig
Bull?
down and say you'd rather watch Amadeus over Tampopo.
It's 6. Tampopo 6. Amadeus is 10.
I love Tampopo, but number 6 seems a bit high.
That's much.
How about this?
Why is that high?
Think about this then, guys.
Have you ever met anyone that disliked Tampopo?
What do we have right now? What's the ranking?
What do we have down? I have Raging Bull at 7 and The Thing at 9.
And Raging Bull is better than Tampopo.
Put Amadeus in 8, and we'll put Tampopo. Oh, fuck me.
Well, then that's just good. Why don't we put Tampopo?
I'll be fine.
8. At 8.
Okay, fine.
Put Tampopo in 8.
Yeah, that's
and
just
then
that compromise.
Put Amadeus in 6.
Okay. As long as
what's our last spot here? What's number?
We
10?
haven't talked about Koyaanisqatsi. right?
I'll put
I
that.
know it's gonna be really high, so I'm trying to get to like the worst ones.
Put that in 10.
No.
Oh my god.
You're
trying to break my heart.
Amadeus is definitely 10.
Well, just put Amadeus 10 for right now.
Yes.
I don't think
Yes.
I don't think it deserves to be there at all.
You guys did that to me with something last with number 10. It was like Woman Under the Influence. So I'm doing that.
I was on your side.
No,
Yeah.
no. I'm sorry.
This is like 10 out of thousands of movies, by the way. So it's pretty high still.
Like it's in the list. So I don't think it's bad.
Yeah.
Number 6 to me would be Paradiso, right?
I guess.
Sure.
That's too high.
Sure.
It's
Why
too
is it
high.
too
Raging
high?
Raging Bull should be above Cinema Paradiso.
Yeah.
Then switch them.
I'll switch them. I don't care. Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. I need to sleep.
Me too.
Y'all need to stop complaining. It is 5 a.m. where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
I wasn't complaining. I'm
No, I'm not talking
fast
about
as-
you.
I'm
talking
complaining.
about the Bill Griff.
The Bill Griff.
You're the one making this harder. Okay, we're in the top 5 now. Thank God.
Okay.
We have Come and See left. We have Paris, Texas. Do the Right Thing, The
Ooh.
Shining, and Koyaanisqatsi Scotty. That's what we got left.
Okay. This is my ranking right now.
Okay.
5, Koyaanisqatsi. 4, Do the Right Thing. 3, Paris, Texas. 2, The Shining. 1, Come and See.
I like that.
I'm actually not opposed to that.
I'm fine.
The only thing I would say is put Koyaanisqatsi a little bit, like maybe one step higher. But
I'm
That's-
exactly
what's
with
number,
Carlos.
Number 5 is Paris, Texas, or Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing. Number 5.
I will put.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm
I guess.
perfectly happy with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Let me rank this all out here. Number 4 was fuck. I'm losing my mind. 4 is Paris, Texas. Is that what we said?
Koyaanisqatsi.
Koyaanisqatsi.
And then Paris, Texas, right? Yeah.
You just really want Paris, Texas. Just as far back.
Me?
I'm just kidding.
It's on my list. What are you talking about?
No, I'm just kidding.
You're fucking like losing your mind like Harry Dean over there in the movie. Paris, Texas, and then The Shining, and then
And then come and pee.
Come and
and
See's
Pee.
number 1. Okay.
Yep. That's beautiful.
That is
That's-
beautiful.
I'm actually really happy that The Shining is up so high. I thought I was gonna have to settle with that being very low.
Actually,
Yep.
I think The Shining is number 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go.
Everything moves up, and then Tampa
I think
goes.
We're gonna need to put Blue Velvet in number 2 and then take out Amadeus.
I shouldn't have said anything.
Yeah. When I make the list on Premiere, I'm just gonna cross out The Shining last second, and then Blue Velvet comes up slowly.
Just put Blue Velvet for every single place.
Just
Yeah.
dub over Carlos. Be like, my name is Carlos Diaz. I love Blue Velvet. And I actually think it's my number.
Can we
2.
get an AI bot to replicate Carlos? You think? All right, let's read the top 10 of the 1980s. Number 10, Amadeus. Number 9, The Thing. Number 8, Tampopo. Number 7, Cinema Paradiso. Number 6, Raging Bull. Number 5, Do the Right Thing. Number 4, Koyaanisqatsi. 3 is Paris, Texas. 2 is The Shining. 1 is Come and Pee, Baby.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's a pretty good list.
that's a good list. Yeah.
Yeah. Literally the only thing that I semi regret is that Blue Velvet didn't make it.
Yeah, Blue
but-
Velvet. That's it.
But you want to sacrifice Amadeus, Blair?
I mean, Carlos is not gonna want Blue Velvet on the list.
3v2.
I mean, y'all can do whatever the fuck y'all want.
But nah, that's
I
fine.
just
Let's
wanna
just,
go
let's
to
just leave
sleep.
it. Well, yeah, let's just leave it.
I know. I just wanted to stir up a
Literally nobody would be upset with that except for me, because even the audience would be like, sure, fuck Amadeus, put fucking Blue Velvet.
No, I think
That's
think
why it's
people-
a chaotic move.
people generally like Amadeus more than Blue Velvet, I think.
But dude, that fucking Blue Velvet love is insane, dude. That Blue Velvet Love is like, it's mind boggling.
Yeah, people still call you out, even though you're like, I like the movie, but I just didn't want to buy it right away. And people are like, oh, he doesn't like Blue Velvet for years.
Yeah, man.
That's like what you're known for now at the Criterion Hall.
Blue Velvet, I think that won the 80s bracket. No, I almost won the 80s bracket.
Didn't.
I think Come and See won, but it was Blue Velvet fucking got really far. Again, it beat like the Celebration too, which I was like, what the fuck?
Damn.
That was one of the craziest bracket matches, the Celebration versus Blue Velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe now it wouldn't win, but I don't know anymore.
That needs it needs to happen again.
Yeah, we need an 80s rematch bracket.
Redux.
Redux.
I guess, was Come and See always gonna win? Like, what if if no one brought it up, would it have won anyway?
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts. What a fucking tank Come and See is. I like the list a lot. Yeah, I have no objections. Compared to the 70s bullshit, I'm very happy. No, I'm kidding.
The 70s was fun too.
It wasn't as lugubrious.
If Perry had been here, I feel like maybe Brazil. Well, the what ifs of Brazil, I feel like Brazil could have
made it.
Yeah.
But maybe not. I think he also likes Blue Velvet more than Brazil.
Oh my god. That's your kryptonite now, is that fucking movie. Anyway, let's wrap this up because we're all gonna pass the fuck out now.
I'm gonna play some Zelda actually.
That's nuts. Okay.
You're playing the new Zelda?
Yeah, dude.
It's late.
It's so good.
They look so fun.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna watch TikTok and pass out.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch some ramen videos on my phone.
Oh, I should do that. Yeah.
Shout out Tampopo. Great list, guys. Honestly, one of the best lists we've conjured up, I think, so far in this decade series. Thank you guys for coming on. Bill Griff, thanks for coming back. 2 times in a row.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun the past 2 episodes, I think. Carlos and I were saying even the last episode was great. So thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Anytime you need me back, I'm here. Anytime Carlos needs to yeah, I'm too tired. I'm too tired to even finish that.
The punchline. We all know the punchline.
We all know the punchline.
I'm so tired.
By the way, for some viewers out there that may not know Bill Griff, he has an awesome channel on Criterions. He's, to me, the fucking king of Criterions. He has an endless amount of Criterion knowledge, and to me, the best haul videos you could find on YouTube. So please check him out and subscribe to his channel.
Oh, thank you, man.
Totally.
Thank you, Carlos.
Absolutely.
Sub to Bill Griff, but also sub to the Misfit Pond channel.
Exactly.
Yes. If you're watching this on my channel, sub to my channel, please.
If you're here,
follow my
back.
Instagram, I guess. That's all I gotta say.
follow Spooky Blaire on Instagram. And follow what?
Yeah. I was gonna say follow Games You Love.
Yeah, follow Games You Love, please. No.
Games You Love.
Games You Love.
Jake, all right.
Jake is like, what the fuck? I'm done. Shut up about this Games You Love.
I just don't know what you're. Yeah. Anyway, Misfit Pond Discord, $5 a month if you want to do.
Oh, hell yeah! Thank you. Yep, $5 a month. You get access to Discord, movie nights. You get your own wheel pick. You get your own blind recommendations. We discuss all this shit. It's just it's a grand old time.
Totally.
We'll ask you how you feel about The Whale by Aronofsky.
Oh boy!
You can see me. You can see me more unhinged in the Discord. If you want to see if you want to see unhinged Carlos, just please join the Discord for $5 a month.
You're still such a sweetheart though in there. You're not like a dick.
Oh, thank you.
Actually, no, I'm kidding.
Actually, that one time.
When we talked about The Whale, you were fucking asshole. Anyway, yeah, subscribe to the Cinebums too, obviously. All that bullshit. I don't want to plug anything. I'm done. See you guys.
Pizza time.
It's so late. Pizza time.
Pizza time.